what's the most you've ever lost in a podcast?
I don't know, 4 hours or so.
I'm teeing you up on that one.
Was that Count Dracula?
What is the most you've ever lost in a podcast? Blah, blah, blah.
Call it. Yeah, how do you do him? Remember that was the trailer. Just so much of him, friend.
We are
Was it?
the Two Friendos. The Two Friendos.
All right, warm me up. Warm me
Yeah,
up.
there we go. Come on.
Griff's moving the
Get
skillet
in.
around.
Yes. That scene is David slapping himself in the face.
Every scene of, not just that scene, every scene of Anton Chigurh talking to a random Texan who basically starts the conversation with nice weather we're having and ends with, am I looking into the face of Satan?
I agree with you.
It's so good.
Every one of those scenes is crack.
Yes.
But the convenience store is mega crack.
Of course,
Yeah.
that's the peak.
I could lock myself in a room and watch that scene on an endless loop every day for the rest of my life, and I would be thrilled.
Oh, really?
I find that scene to be the most activating thing in the world.
Well, why?
I mean, this is what we're here to dissect,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah.
It feels like the perfect distillation of what this movie is doing. So much of it is his performance. The guy whose name I want to call out right off the bat.
Gene.
yes.
My wife did a play with him. Yeah.
He's kind of what
Forgot his
Gene
last name.
Jones is
Gene
the
Jones.
actor's
Yes.
name.
And his character name is
Gas station proprietor.
Hell yes.
And it's his first film credit.
That's
He's
what
done
right.
done a couple TV shows.
Yes.
but,
Oh, really?
Yes.
but it's his first film
a lot
credit.
of theater, and then yes, he has kept working. He was the lead of The Sacraments, right?
Yes, which I
Yes.
think he actually got like a a golden chainsaw award.
I was
or
going
whatever
to
the
say
Fangoria
he probably got
awards
that
are.
chainsaw.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I never saw that one. That's the Ty West movie
Yes.
with Joe Swanberg.
Yes.
Sounds
And
normal.
it's wow, Joe Swanberg. Wait, what did you say?
I said sounds normal.
Yeah, the Anton Chigurh, the mumblecore scene. This movie, I feel like the magic of the Chigurh performance, right?
He's
Yeah.
played by Javier Bardem in this film.
Are you
Yeah.
sure about that? That
Yep,
doesn't sound right.
Absolutely, the Spanish actor
I feel like I would have known about
Javier Bardem, and he won an Academy Award.
He did
for
win an
the-
Academy
for the
Award
Yes, he
for
did.
this.
Yeah.
Yes. The magic of that characterization. And as you said, every one of those scenes where he's face to face with someone who's just greeting him with gentle charm,
Like a
Right,
human,
civility.
a
Truly
human
with
interaction.
Every single time, like, how's it going? Like,
Yes.
what's the weather like?
pleasantries.
Where are you going tonight? You know,
Right.
like, how's the day been so far,
Right.
essentially?
And then he just goes death.
I gotta say though, I kind of relate to not wanting to have small talk. It's like
So
a
do you
real
think-
You
trigger.
think that's
If
the
some-
driving force of this
for
movie? You
one-
think the battery of this film is just this guy being like,
I'm not
I hate
that.
pleasant.
I'm not.
Yes.
I haven't been to the South that much, but I do think if you hate small talk, you probably shouldn't go there, right? Because I feel like that is part of the social contract. a
stay in the
little bit
big
more.
mean cities?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit
Wow.
more. I feel like there's more chit chat, aren't you? Don't
I-
you think so?
I don't know. I've
don't know.
never
You're
been
not
to
from the
Texas
South.
because of the thin blue line. I'm just not going.
But you're worried that you'll get thin blue lined.
Yeah.
You'll like go to a convenience store and then like you're fucking doomed
Yeah,
unless
that
Errol
movie
Morris makes a
that
movie
movie
about
ended,
you.
and I was like, I'm never going to.
It's like the SNL Jumanji sketch.
It's just. I'm not saying it's like overbearing. I think it's just like there's
No,
a
it's
little
just-
bit more.
yeah.
You
Hi
know,
y'all. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
also
like,
how- or
how's
how
your
are you-
day?
how
How's
y'all?
your
Yeah.
fucking day?
Yeah.
It's also the thing that Tommy Lee Jones says.
That's not
that,
a
like,
read, by the way. I think
right.
That's not a read.
There's the scene with Tommy Lee Jones where he's talking to the older cop and they're comparing notes, and he's like, these kids with the bones in their noses and all this sort of
green
stuff.
hair.
Right. And Tommy Lee Jones is just like, the second people stop saying like ma'am and sir,
Right.
it was all slipping away. Right. And most of the people that Chigurh is dealing with are older.
Older
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
feeling of like there is a sense of like polite civility
Yes.
and a
yeah.
sort of like attempt to engage with all people with a good face that is perhaps like eroding in culture. I think the Gene scene is the longest one. It is the most sustained. It is
Yeah,
such a
of course.
perfect, like
And
kind
it's
of like
the-
rubber band pulled to its absolute breaking point.
Absolutely.
And then the bizarreness of rather than letting it snap, slowly putting it back into position, you know, the lack of release of tension in that scene in either
Yes.
direction
yes.
is so bizarre. But I also think he plays the fear of it so well.
Well, Javier did an interview
Mm-hmm.
where he said, you know, that scene is really great because of Gene.
Yeah.
You know, he said, I'm just saying it. And he's playing the fear and the nervousness
Yes.
and the terror.
He's an incredible listener. He's
Yeah.
not overplaying it.
Yeah.
He still wants to be, I don't want to say gentlemanly,
Yeah.
but he's trying to treat this man with kindness with every answer as his fear is increasing.
Yes. Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
won't give that up.
He's not going to be like, what's your fucking
Get the
problem?
fuck
Get
out of
my
here.
store."
It is also
He is trying to
very-
engage with him.
Yeah.
It's very funny that he keeps being like, you married into
And
this?
the
And,
gene-
he's like kind of blank, like
Yes.
not getting it.
He chokes on the sunflower seeds at the notion that he
Yeah.
inherited a thing from his wife's dad, and Gene doesn't respond with any defensiveness. He doesn't do like a well.
No, he's like, yeah, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
He goes, and there is no way to put it.
And even just down to, I think it's the final shot of the scene of Chigurh putting the sunflower seed bag
I love that shot.
on the
Crumpled
desk,
up and then it
and it
slowly
just
uncrumples.
expands.
Yeah, it's because it's the tension
Yes.
and then the release,
right.
of just like, we are so tense.
Yes.
And actually, oddly, the release of that is
Yes.
like why you remember it.
I think
Because
so.
you're hoping for that. Like you're hoping that that's going to.
But also, much like the bag, you release it and it's still just like a crumpled mess, right? You don't go
Yes,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, you never see Gene again.
Nope. Bye, Gene.
You're relieved
later.
that Gene didn't die, but you're also like, nothing has been solved here.
No, not at all.
And it's in fact almost scarier where you're like, this is so completely random and meaningless for him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That he throws the coin toss into it and it doesn't feel like an element of like perverse fun. It's not like he's a fucking James Bond villain with a gimmick of the coin. He's not Two-Face, right?
No. Two-Face. No.
He's
he
not
is
getting any
Two-Face.
joy from
Yeah.
the idea of staking it
Well-
all on that. It just feels like this guy, right? He's pure evil.
Or
Or
no.
he's pure. This is what we need to break down.
So with Toothface Toothface.
Toothface.
Toothface
Yes,
is a new
Toothface.
villain I'm
Yeah.
pitching, which
Yeah.
is a guy whose
Go ahead.
face is a tooth.
All teeth.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. I
Now
love
with
it.
Two-Face,
Good,
not to
good.
get too deep into fucking comic book talk, right? But it's like his he's so traumatized by what
His
happened to
psyche
him.
is
He
fractured.
cannot handle making any decision without flipping a
He
goddamn
needs fate
coin.
to decide which
He need-
side
Yeah.
of his trauma response
But I
takes
think
over.
Anton Chigurh is doing a little bit of that where he's like, it's not all me. No, this is fated or not fated. And like, I am merely an instrument of something I don't understand. And that's why it's so important that Kelly MacDonald
You're
says
right.
Well,
to
it's
him,
interesting
like,
that you say.
you're saying it's the coin, but it is definitely not the coin.
Yeah,
Like,
you-
it is
Right.
you, my friend.
It's interesting that you say instrument because so in the book, this is essentially word for word.
Mhm.
It's essentially word for word this scene, including putting down the wrapper.
It is funny that
So-
they won a screenplay Oscar for this because they have been so open about the fact where
It's just a cut and paste.
right. I
It's
think there's
cut
a
and
line
paste.
where they were like,
They
here's
said
our
one
writing
of us
process.
holds the book flat,
Yeah, and the other one types.
Right,
It's
and
a
they
good
talk,
line.
then they talk about how much they
They
consolidated
did
and
not.
things
Right,
they
yeah. As a
pruned
big
and-
fan of this book,
Sure.
they did a great job adapting.
Yeah.
It
So
is
they did-
not transcription.
They
Right.
definitely they
But
definitely
you're right
did
that the dialogue
sections-
The
is,
dialogue is the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say cut and paste because there are many things. One of the things they didn't include, and you don't need to because of the visuals, is anything can be an instrument. Chigurh said, small things you wouldn't even notice. They pass from hand to hand. People don't pay attention. And then one day there's an accounting. And after that, nothing is the same. Well, you say it's just a coin. For instance, nothing special there. What could that be an instrument of? You see the problem, to separate the act from the thing, as if the parts of some moment in history might be interchangeable with the parts of some other moment. How could that be? Well, it's just a coin. Yes, that's true. Is it?
So that's, beautiful writing, but
Incredible.
also what a great underlining of
The whole thing.
and
The
also
whole thing.
and also that the value of this movie is, as you just said, they don't need that because they're able to convey that through repeated
Through
visual
the
patterns.
to the visuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
This-
And the performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
This movie came out in the very brief tenure in which I was attending film school before I dropped out and ruined my entire life, or fixed it.
Doing
Unclear.
great now.
Doing
Jury's
very
still out.
well.
Jury's
You're doing
in.
very well.
Jury's still out.
What fucking film school? Nobody ever
Well,
learns anything at those.
Sure. But this is the period of time where I'm just like, all I need to do all day is watch movies
Sure.
and break them down because I'm trying to like figure out how to engineer these things
That's
myself.
work. That's
right?
your work.
Yeah.
And this movie
Yeah.
comes out that fall,
Yes.
basically in the one semester and change that I'm in film school. And I'm in Valencia, California. If there's an artsy movie I want to see, a more limited release, I need a friend with a car to drive me to the fucking landmark. or The Arclight or something.
Yes, yeah.
But No Country is mainstream enough that it goes to the Valencia Town Center 16
Oh, wow.
and plays there for months. And I saw this movie so many fucking times.
In the theater?
Yes, and
Yeah,
I
I
just
saw
would
it a lot,
see it.
too.
I'd just be like, this is the blueprint. This is the
Yeah.
best constructed movie I have ever
Yeah.
seen. I
Yeah.
saw it so many times. I hadn't watched it in quite a while because I was so obsessed with it in its year.
Yeah.
Where I was just, and I was just like, well, this is just the pinnacle of everything.
Yeah.
And I watch it now and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to rank it in their filmography. There's
Yeah.
definitely a ton I put above this. I don't think it's their best movie, but it might be one of the best made films ever. It is just so perfectly made.
Yeah, I saw it 3 times in
Yeah.
the theater.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I saw it once or twice. And I've seen it several times since then. It's a
Yeah.
movie I admire. It's a book I love.
Uh-huh.
And it's an author I love.
Mhm.
I do love Cormac McCarthy.
Mhm.
Perhaps it's a little fucking, boring of me.
Why would it be boring?
I don't know.
Why do
I
you
feel
say
like
that,
so
though?
many 20-something boys have a Cormac McCarthy phase, right?
Mm.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
not. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
being too rude.
You're kind of built like the description from Blood Meridian.
I was
I'm
going to say,
realizing
I
now.
do think there's like Blood Meridian is like a gateway drug to something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I don't know what, but
love him.
Mhm.
And I love how he behaved his whole life totally normal. I love that. No, but I love
well
him.
adjusted.
And
yeah.
he's one of those guys who his books, I mean, the Border trilogy, this All the Pretty Horses and The
Mhm.
Crossing, and those books are my favorite. And they will just once every 2 or 3 pages, just have a moment, have some line where you're just like, that's the best thing I ever read.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's the most incredible, beautiful
Yes.
evocation of like light going through a fucking window
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. And you
Yeah.
put the book down and you just soak it in. And that's why I do feel like
Yeah.
he's hard to put on film. And they did such an incredible job putting him on film.
Yeah.
And so that's what I
Because I
love
also
about this movie the most.
This movie,
and we haven't even
watching it.
introduced this podcast yet.
No, and I'm going to do in a second. But this movie, watching it, I feel the way you just described reading Cormac McCarthy books, where
Yeah.
like every 3 minutes there's something that happens where I'm like, that's the greatest visual storytelling I've ever seen.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
greatest evocation of a feeling,
I
a
agree.
moment, a communication of an idea,
I agree.
whether
Yeah.
it's thematic or plot.
Yeah.
This podcast is called Blank Check with Griffin and David. I'm Griffin.
I'm David.
We're the Two Friendos, and it's a podcast about filmographies. Directors who have massive success early on in their careers and are given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. And sometimes those checks clear, and sometimes they bounce. Friendo. I'm just going to keep
Friendo.
saying Friendo. This is a miniseries on the films of Joel and Ethan Coen. Today we are talking about the titular film in our series.
Pod Country for Old Casts.
Oh, the titular. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is
No Country for Old Men is the film.
the
Won Best
pinnacle
Picture.
of their career within the industry. Certainly, like within the arc of their career.
Agreed.
It's
yeah.
interesting. It is both a pinnacle and a comeback.
Yes.
You
It
know-
is a comeback.
yes.
That's right. Because Lady Killers is right before that.
And Intolerable
Yes.
Cruelty is right before that.
It's sort of them.
Oh, right,
It's
right.
them as look when you two released All That You Can't Leave Behind.
We
Ben,
talk about this all
How you
the
doing?
time.
You interested in me
Producer
talking
Ben?
about this right now? Sorry. Anytime I bring up you two,
Ben is holding
they
a,
said
a cattle gun to his head.
they had made Zooropa and they had made Pop and they were
Flipping
kind
a
of
coin.
they were a little down and they were like we're auditioning, we're re-auditioning for the role of like best rock band.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And this is the Coens being like we're re-auditioning for like the best directors working.
This
Yeah.
is the other thing I was thinking about.
How'd it
Covered-
work out for you two?
I don't know, millions of records sold, biggest tours ever, won fucking Grammys.
But they
and shit.
never got Ben's respect. The ultimate prize. I was thinking within the same year,
Yes.
this is very similar to the moment of Spielberg going from 1941 to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of
That's
just
interesting.
right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which in that episode I said was like kind of one of the greatest comeback moments
It is,
movies
but that's-
in Hollywood history. Not
Yeah.
moments because his cold streak was not sustained.
no,
But
no.
it was a real like we're ready to knock this guy down to size.
Yes.
And
yeah.
he just kind of like pulled himself up and was like, I gotta make something just like kind of so lean and focused and undeniable.
Right.
And
right.
this feels similar to that where I'm like, I don't
Return
think
to
Raiders
form.
is
Schlock.
Spielberg's best movie.
B
but
movie.
it
nail
might
it.
be his
yeah.
best made film.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I just gotta make myself undeniable
Yeah.
here.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the Coens would just sort of be like, "No, we like the book."
Right.
I mean, I'll look
Right.
at what they
They
said.
never
in
talk about that
interviews.
strategy. And
Yeah,
they
they're
talk
not
about
like we need needed to fucking punch Hollywood in the face and knock everyone's teeth
They
out.
talk about a deeply normal man, Scott Rudin, begging them to do it, and then being like, I don't know, who's going to adapt Cormac McCarthy?
Right.
But this also comes in a 3-year gap after Lady Killers. There was this feeling of like, are they just cooked?
Yeah.
Where did they go? And we were
Who's our
saying
guest?
right before we recorded, the great Leslye Headland returning to the show.
Hey, Leslye.
Podcast.
Of
Hey
the
guys,
Acolyte, of
good to be
Bachelorette.
back. Leslie Nation, rise up.
Cult of Love.
Yeah.
Cult of
Recently
Love.
on
Love
Broadway.
recently on Broadway. Broadway girl.
Soon to be
A film, yes.
in front of
soon-
cameras. A
soon
movie
to be
picture.
in front of cameras.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were-
Adaptation. We'll see what happens. It's certainly not going to be this.
but we were saying, like, in you said, how's the series been going? And I said,
Yes.
great. Every one of these movies is a delight to rewatch. Every night when I'm like, oh,
that was
fuck,
what I was wondering.
I gotta
like,
watch a Coen movie tonight. I'm
Yeah.
just always thrilled.
Yeah, you're thrilled.
Always thrilled.
Yeah. For
But
different reasons.
Yeah.
Because it might be just a disaster. And then it might be, one of the
enjoying it
greatest
all.
film adaptations ever.
yes. But also, as we've been tracking the critical response to these movies,
Yeah.
it was like there was such a skepticism about them. Then it's sort of squashed by Fargo. And then right after
Yes.
Fargo, everyone's like, fuck, no, we were right.
Yeah.
And there's a feeling of getting twice as angry as them. And then from this movie on, everyone was like, I guess they're undeniable. It
That's
did
right.
feel like they so completely won the argument.
Well, I think it was so interesting too that like 1-2 punch of Fargo, exactly what you said.
Mhm.
Lebowski, which at the time, everybody
People were furious, angry at them.
furious. And it's just so funny that that's the film that is culturally.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, Fargo is, but Lebowski has completely surpassed it in that sense.
it will be the movie in their obituary.
Yeah.
Unquestionably, right?
Yeah.
They will
I mean,
never make something that has a bigger cultural impact than Big
That's what it
Lebowski.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it their best movie? No, like not at all. But
Yeah.
but there's no. Although you know what, I asked my assistant.
Mhm.
I have an assistant.
I
I asked her, like, I quoted the movie, and she was like, she's my assistant, so she's like, and I said, well, have you seen The Big Lebowski?
Mhm.
And she was like, I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
not necessarily a next generation watch, but this
What
is my
age
point.
is your assistant?
She's late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my sister's 27, and I'm also wondering now,
Yeah.
has she maybe never seen Lebowski?
But she knows it.
Oh,
Like she
sister
understands
definitely
that it's
does as well.
something in
Yeah.
the world.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It is
Yeah.
just kind of universal shorthand.
Yeah.
There is sometimes a question our listeners love to throw out of
There's
like,
sometimes a buggy.
there's sometimes a buggy?
I'm invoking Mulholland Drive, which was the last time.
Well,
Leslie
this is what I
with
was
us.
going to say, David. What guest has had the best run of movies? And
Mine.
You are a
Mine.
relatively recent
I
addition
thought
to our
that.
regular
You're-
guest canon, but you have
Leslie.
exclusively covered 3 of the most important American films the last
I-
And
25
not
years.
only that, but 3 films that are sort of like seen by many as the best.
Of- in the
Zodiac,
Are in
Yeah.
conversation
Mulholland
of period.
Drive.
I'm
and
honored.
Pandemic
Country.
film.
I can't believe it happened this
You're
way.
out of control, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Next
You
time,
must be-
you're getting a
dog
piece of
Exactly.
shit.
Yeah, please get me the
Get a bowl of diarrhea.
I was thinking, like, first of all, I was thinking that, and like how honored and excited and like blessed I feel. Thank you all so much
Thrilled to have you.
for boosting up my ego. But I also thought how similar those 3 movies are in terms of, especially in terms of structure. Like you're just again, you're like, wait, which scene is coming next? Like, there's this world that you live in rather than
Absolute straight line.
absolute straight line. Like I was buying
we're
a
following,
book
yeah.
at a bookstore. I was getting a Coen Brothers book, and the lady was like, "Oh, this is so blah blah blah." And I said, "Oh, I'm doing this podcast about No Country for Old Men, and I previously did Zodiac and Mulholland Drive." And she said, "Oh, those are really interesting movies about time."
This is true.
Zodiac, very much so. Obviously, Mulholland Drive. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, not to be reductive, but I think all 3 movies at their core are about touching the membrane of like absolute darkness, right?
Yes.
That's true.
And this
Totally.
feeling of
That's
like,
really
can you
true.
make it through the other side once
that's
you
the
know
other side
that
of the-
exists?
That's
right.
the other side of the coin in inviting me.
Right.
Is that I get to do the best movies, but also the flip side of the coin is you're here for the darkest
But
shit.
I also think that you and I are similar. It's interesting. Look, your friend Zach Kreger, who we had on the Fargo episode,
yeah,
the two of you got engaged in your own coin toss.
we did. We
trying
got
to pick between those two episodes, and you were going back and forth, and we said, look, we're going to win either way,
Yeah.
however this lands. We're happy to have either of you on either one.
Yeah.
Figure
And
it out amongst yourselves.
And we hooked up and, connected, and he said, I really love to do Fargo. Because I kind of went like, oh, Fargo's available, let's do it.
Mhm.
And then he said, hey, I really want to do Fargo. I have this personal connection to it. I love the film. And clearly he's a filmmaker. And I said, yeah, man, I just thought you'd want to do No Country.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you that because it's their, it's everything that you're saying. It may
Sure.
not be the best film. I think we can talk about why it's a superlative, very influential in their being taken seriously, best picture, etc. And he really was like, oh, do you think that? Not in a derogatory way, but he certainly was like, oh, I would consider Fargo. Like, that's the one that I would lean toward.
It worked out because that
Yes.
episode comes out close to the release of his film, and that's fun.
Oh, that's good.
Everything worked out. But when you
Yeah.
were texting with us about it, you were like, I mean, does it make more sense for me to do Fargo, like female protagonist? And
Yes,
it
exactly.
has this sort of like black humor,
Yeah.
right? Versus like, is Zach seen as a little more highbrow and thrillery and sparse? And you were
Yeah.
sort of like talking over the sides of it.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, I think you and I are similar in this respect, is like this feeling of constantly thinking about the absolute worst things in the world and like
Yeah.
needing to combat that with some sense of humor.
Yeah.
That
I think
isn't
that's right.
avoidance.
Yeah.
That is like trying to push through it, which is a thing I think the Coens do really well.
Yeah.
I think all three of the movies you've covered are
Yeah.
funny in
Yeah.
bizarre ways.
In certain ways, yeah.
I think this movie is very funny in bizarre ways.
Yeah.
I think like Fargo is more explicitly funny and has this
Yes.
sense of like, we are going to place goodness at the center of this. We're going to
Yeah.
remind you that it exists in a very pure way.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that when I was thinking of the three of them, and then I am curious your guys feeling like the Fargo versus this movie, but like very quickly I was thinking about the three of those movies and how like in a personal way, yeah, there was just this like delving into darkness and the at the times that those films came out. Like
Yes.
I said on Zodiac that like, I watched it every day for a while
Right.
because I was so depressed.
Yes.
And then
And it's comforting.
it's very comforting.
Yeah.
And Mulholland Drive, like I said, lesbian working in Hollywood with suicide ideation.
Yes.
That's me. I totally relate with that. What's interesting is that I couldn't really figure out why this movie hit me so hard. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it hit me so hard at the time and why it hit me so hard rewatching it.
I
for
think
this.
that was part of it for me in this non-conspiratorial way, because I like that the movie doesn't create some insane interconnected web of stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like to a certain degree, the events of this movie are kind of meaningless.
Yes.
In
yeah.
a way they love.
Yes, the events of this movie revolve around things that are really not our business.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And like Llewellyn, the only sort of quote unquote kind of, normal guy in it.
Yeah.
He just shouldn't have gotten involved in this business. Now, Ben's about to say if he stumbled across
he
a
found
bag, of money,
money.
he would have escaped scot-free with no issues whatsoever.
He'd own a
Yes, yeah.
castle.
Yeah.
I'd be sipping on a Mai Tai somewhere for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's been interesting in the episodes we've done leading up to this, and when No Country gets invoked, several different guests have gone, it just always drives me crazy that he goes back and gives the water. That makes zero sense.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And
When I was
everyone-
rewatching it, my wife was
people
like, so stupid.
Bring
Yeah.
it up as such an urgent, like, I still haven't gotten over this, as
Mhm.
if it's like the kind of slam against a horror movie of why would he go in there? That's so dumb, right?
Yes, yeah.
But I think it's like the core of the movie is why it is so effective and maddening is you're like, the guy is basically doing the save the cat thing and it ruins his
and
entire
it ruins
life.
the, yeah.
Right?
Well, it's also like the what Chigurh says to Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
If the rule that brought you here, it's like if the rule that brought you here, what use was the rule?
Yes.
Right. So
Right.
the rule of you bring water to a dying man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What was the use of that after everything that comes after
As
it?
you
Yeah.
said, David, he never should have been there. He shouldn't have gotten into this, right?
Yeah.
But
Of course.
he would have been in a better place if he actually just took the money and ran. And the fact that he goes back and does the moral thing to, in his mind, kind of balance it,
No.
fucks him to a far deeper
Yeah.
degree.
In
No.
a very intense way.
Well,
yeah.
it's you sort of, but also he should have just looked in the bag. There's a fucking tracker in the bag. Get it out,
Yes.
bro.
Okay, can
They
I
were
just
clever,
Get it
say?
out,
clever
bro.
about the carve out.
He's
Get it
clever
out, bro.
too, though. He's he's supposedly he has clever moments.
Because I don't want to make it seem like I wouldn't, like, I have humanity. I would feel for this
Or
person.
deeply moral, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have empathy. So
Mhm.
what I would have done is grabbed a cactus, because, you know, they're full of water.
You would've
And I was
juiced
going
it.
to say they're
And I
also
would've juiced the hell
famously
out of it.
easy to grab.
Yeah, grabbable.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you know, I would get like, I would
Ben is making
avoid
hand
the
movements.
spikes. I would make it happen.
Also,
Yep.
famously easy to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what is happening?
And then once I've now got the bag back home, here's the thing I would definitely do.
You go through every bit.
I would dump it out on the bed because I want to roll around in that friggin'
Oh,
money.
you're not even
Oh.
dumping it out to sort of take a closer look. You're like, I need to
No.
Scrooge McDuck it right away.
And in doing that, you would end up discovering the tracker. Not
Exactly.
because you're
Quite
that
possibly.
smart, but because your instincts
Yep.
are that kind of in tune.
I
with
want to
the-
throw it up in the air. I want to make it rain.
yeah,
Ben would maybe make it work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think similarly, like, spoilers for No Country for Old Men,
yep,
but like the most fascinating thing this movie does, and the thing the Coen brothers said was the thing that made them ultimately decide, fuck, we should adapt this,
yeah,
is the feeling of this kind of wrong-footed thriller where the lead characters never meet each other,
yes, yeah,
and it all ultimately feels a little meaningless.
It's
and
a movie that seems to promise a showdown,
Yes.
and the showdown never really
it feels like it's
arrives.
all
Yeah.
building towards these three characters
Yes.
ending up in a good, the bad, and the ugly style standoff.
yes, yeah,
And instead, and I, as someone who just kept seeing this in the suburbs of Valencia,
yeah,
and would just feel the audience go like, "What do you mean he's dead?" The
Yeah.
moment you cut to Josh Brolin on the floor, and there's this feeling of like there must be a misunderstanding. He's pulling a Hannibal Lecter. Someone else is wearing his face. Whatever it is, there's no way the movie has just
Well, it's
and it's
also
got
such a
30
weird-
minutes left to go.
It's such a weird shot as well. It's really in a place where you can't quite see his face.
the angle is
the angle
odd.
is wild.
You're like under his jaw. And then it's not really until Tommy Lee Jones takes off his hat and Kelly McDonald cries that you're like, I guess this
okay,
is.
I guess that was him.
I guess
yeah.
it's real.
yeah.
But the moment before, it's
I
sort
think
of.
what I'm saying is like there's no veneration.
No,
of
of
him.
course.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
that's what.
He doesn't get a hero's death, and
Yeah.
you get this slow fade out. And then
Oh,
the
yeah,
next
it's a
thing
dissolve,
you see
yeah.
is the police arriving, right?
yeah.
And the
yeah.
dissolve comes after a woman sitting by the side of the pool,
Mm-hmm.
promising him beer,
Yeah.
hitting on him.
Yeah.
And he keeps going like, my wife is coming.
Yeah.
I'm a married man. I don't want to.
Yeah.
And you're like, you keep wondering, is this a morality test that he's going to slip?
Yeah.
And in the universe of this movie, that is what causes his death.
That's a good point.
Right?
Because
Not
the-
that she's a temptress, a siren of evil or whatever, but that it's a sense of, did this guy...
Right. But is it like the water where if
Exactly.
he's punished for the good thing, perhaps he turns her down. Do you know what I mean? Like and
Absolutely.
punished for that.
In the book, obviously, that character is more major.
She is. She's like a runaway.
Yes, they have a
and-
whole long section that
Yeah.
all gets
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
But no, though it's his grandma, mother-in-law, is the one who gets him killed too. She
Oh,
gives
sure.
him away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gives
Yes.
it
He
away.
shouldn't have
Right,
called his
right.
wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, his biggest mistake is he stays in a fucking motel. Stay in a hotel with a desk, a
Sure.
concierge. That like assassins can't just knock on your fucking door. Like you just want like one
It's a
layer
very
of
good call.
people to get through.
This is a very good call.
Instead, he's like, "What's your cheapest motel?" I'm like, "You have a bag of money.
Yeah, exactly.
You can
Yeah.
spring for a presidential
Yeah.
suite."
Yeah.
I get the idea of like, I don't want anyone seeing me. I
Yeah.
don't want CCTV. Whatever, you know,
Stuff
like
with the AC vent is clever.
that's the thing where I'm
Yeah.
like, you're
That's
kind
clever.
of smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
but what's so
And
He's
when
not a
he's looking
Coen
at
idiot.
when he's looking at the the guy underneath the tree, the way
Right.
that he waits, the way that the time is expressed to us via the wristwatch. Like
Yes.
you get a sense of like, oh, this guy was in Nam. Like you get it. Like you get that this
Absolutely.
is somebody that does have some sort of street smarts. Right.
Yes.
But then exactly what you're saying, David, it's like then he makes choices that you're like, I'm so sorry.
shit, buddy.
What? Like
Because he's not that.
He doesn't belong in this movie.
He's
He
not
shouldn't
that
have been
good at
here.
this stuff. Exactly.
Right, and he's dealing with an entirely different league of person.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's like I think, especially by cutting out all that backstory of that character, right?
Yes, it's
You're
it's better.
reducing
It's
it
a
to a
good
moment of a choice,
yeah.
and that choice doesn't gain him anything in the same way that doing the kind thing to the dying man doesn't gain him anything.
I want to open the dossier.
Please do.
In a
Great.
second. But I do
I'll
want to know,
close.
read what all you guys are saying. That's why I was, on the one hand, mildly surprised that in the year of 2007, a
Mhm.
big year for movies, Zodiac among them.
Yes, yeah.
This won Best Picture. It won Best Picture over There Will Be Blood,
Mhm.
which is kind of like a magnum opus from
Yeah.
PTA, obviously. Michael Clayton. What were the other big 2007
Juno
movies?
and Atonement were the 5 nominees.
yeah.
Atonement got Best Picture,
yes,
but then
yeah.
Julian Schnabel got the Joe Wright slot in director. David is miming praise, applause, taking a bow. Oh no, he's jerking off a giant dick.
Yeah. What's the giant dick about? Sorry.
Schnabel. I don't like Julian Schnabel.
I don't like Julian Schnabel. I like that movie a tremendous amount. That is an ultimate Onion heartbreaking. The worst guy you know just made a good point movie for me.
Anyway.
Where I'm like, he did kind of do this
Oh
well.
fuck, yeah.
Although I give more credit
Broken
to
Clock is right. twice a
Janosch
day,
and
yeah.
This movie
the
is
screenwriter,
obviously
yeah.
incredibly compelling and well made, but it is not satisfying,
No.
as you're saying, in the sort of, maybe traditional Hollywoody Western way you might expect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it is sort of surprising
It
to
is.
won Best Picture. You watch There Will Be Blood, which has Daniel Day-Lewis screaming, "I abandoned my boy."
Mhm.
It's not like There Will Be Blood is like an easy movie.
No.
No.
But you watch it and you are like, this is the kind of thing you would think like would kind of triumph. It's so epic.
Yeah.
It's so, the acting is so big, like in
Mhm.
all this. And I just remember when this movie came out, and I feel this way to this day. I have never seen a film be as well received as this film.
Yes.
And since then, lots of movies have come out to praise.
Mhm.
I remember when the reviews came out for this, I was like, I think this is essentially getting a 100 from everybody.
Wait, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You're
No
saying
Country
that
for Old Men.
You're saying that for forever, like in all
Since then.
perpetuity. Since
I've never
2007.
seen a film as well received
No
as
one
this.
questioned
And
it.
I don't think
I
people
did-
really remember how well this movie went over.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit of this and There Will Be Blood were very much pitted against each other.
There Will Be Blood's an amazing movie, but
Yes.
like there were some people that
Agreed.
it was
That
a
would
little
be
more
me.
divisive. It's
That
like,
would be me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I didn't
Leslie
like
weighed in. She said, "What a piece of shit."
I
Yeah.
just,
There Will Be
yeah.
Poop was your review.
Sound off in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I was a little colder on that movie at the time, and I have grown to like it more. But I do agree with you that these two films were pitted against each other. There was weird synchronicity between them.
They're
they were both
set in the same
beloved
place.
They were
American-
shot
They
in
were
the same
shot in
place.
Martha
Same fucking
simultaneously.
place.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but in the same place
Yes,
they were shot.
no,
yeah.
and
yeah.
they were shot at the same time.
Yeah.
Like they talk about that the crews were having to avoid each other, like to negotiate who got what location when.
That's wild.
And they were both like American auteurs who had kind of disappeared, and it was like, what are these guys doing? And it was seen as this sort of like, here's the next chapter.
Yeah.
thing, right.
Yeah.
But you're right that this movie is bizarre in how sort of bracing and unsparing and like deliberately unsatisfying it is. And yet it ended up being the sort of like more populist pick, I think, relative
Sure.
to There Will Be Blood, which was seen as almost more
Nihilistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
There Will Be Blood somewhat punishing.
Yes.
And just when you just think about it, it's like, right, how does this movie end? Llewellyn Moss gets shot by unrelated Mexican gangsters
Right.
off screen.
Then
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones spends 20
Tommy Lee
minutes being
Jones
like,
is like, I'm having this dream, and generally I'm kind of bummed out by the world.
Yeah.
The end.
but there's 20
And Anton
minutes in
Chigurh
between
gets
the
hit
death
by
and
a
the
car,
dream.
and
Yes.
he's like, Jesus, that hurt. and you're like, and that's it. That's
and
how
you're like, does the car kill him? No, he limps away.
No, he's in pain.
Yeah.
And you're
Um,
like, okay.
What do you
What were you
think?
going to say, Leslie?
Well, I was
And I
just
like all
curious.
those endings, to be clear. I
Yeah.
think they're
Oh,
great.
same.
Incredible.
Same. Yeah.
David's
well,
eating a hot dog and a croissant?
Kolache,
Okay.
I was curious when you finished
Texas.
eating, David.
No.
Why do you think this was sort of universally acclaimed, especially because you're claiming that it's, 100% and then since 2007?
There's been nothing like it. I mean, I think partly there was this vibe of like the Coens are back, thank God.
Yeah. Thank God.
It's
Thank
basically
God.
been
Yes.
since Fargo.
Yeah.
Every single thing they've made since Fargo, people had been hot and cold on. Like even your Lebowskis or your O Brothers, you know, those movies had more fans, but at the time both got the reaction of like, this kind of goofy thing is what they want to do.
Yeah.
They'd been in such a goofy mode. And then they're just like, we just made the most like psychotic, cold-blooded like crime thriller you ever saw.
Yeah.
That's also shot through with like Tommy Lee Jones' furrowed brow about what has happened to this, you know, world that we live in. And people were just like, I've never been so electrified. That's how I felt.
It's
like,
it's like a Swiss watch construction film that is still somehow explicitly built around themes and ideas, you know?
And this is right before Obama.
Yeah,
This is right before. So we're all kind of worn out.
Yeah.
I feel
Pretty
like
worn out.
we're kind of worn out. What were like the 4 best pictures leading up to that?
That's a great question. So 2006 was Departed.
Yikes, right.
2005
Brutal.
was
Crash.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
2004 was $1 Million Baby.
Which is a great movie.
And 2003 was Return of the King.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then what? Then Chicago.
Yeah, so it all feels like very
Gladiator.
Sorry, but it's all very like kind of genre-y.
Yep.
You know, like it's not the Crash win is just so sort of bizarre. Everyone's I think the people who won, I think Paul Haggis was like, sorry, what? Like, I mean, you know, Brokeback was really, you know, seen as the front runner until, you know, gay people happened.
It is absolutely a defensive Best Picture win.
Yeah, it's and then Departed is kind of like this afterthought win for Scorsese,
and
who's made 17,000 better movies than that.
Right, exactly.
So
and
it
that
feels,
was even the line at the time of like, is it a little silly that we're going to give it to him for this?
Yes.
And yet they were like, it's kind of a weak year. This movie was a big hit. Why not this year?
Right.
Versus this film being seen as like, is this the Coen brothers' towering achievement? Is it their magnum opus? And I think it was. I think David's right. The fact that there was this feeling of comeback, the fact that the movie is sort of just like so clean and undeniable in its craft.
It's also a throat slit of a movie.
It is.
Like, it is not.
It's not an easy
It is
one.
like, we're like, hey, Departed, and, you know, of course, very violent.
Yes.
You know, but also very mainstream.
Departed
you know, like
is also incredly funny and like
yeah. And
wacky.
Wahlberg handles it at the end. You know what I mean? Like, he handles it.
Yeah.
So it's not like as nihilistic as the quote ending of that movie is, we still get the guy at the end shoots the other guy.
I find this movie very comforting, but it is the kind of movie where I usually am on that island and other people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why do you want to live in that headspace?
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And like Mulholland Drive was wildly acclaimed, but was also like for a certain type of person.
Yes,
There were like big flashing warning signs above that movie of like, hey, if you don't love David Lynch, you're probably not going to like this.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Zodiac was like not totally recognized.
Yeah, if you don't
in
like
the
David
same year.
Fincher, you're not going to like this.
And
yeah,
this is
absolutely.
him going like very procedural and it's
Yeah.
really dark, right?
Yeah.
But in a way without the stylization and the pulp of something like Seven.
Yeah.
And this movie, everyone was just like, yeah, kind of undeniable. And I also think it's interesting that 2007 was such a humongous fucking movie year. And one that we keep pointing back to is like, was that the last time we were just kind of firing on all cylinders?
Wait, can I say something about There Will Be Blood that I
Please.
just thought of when you were saying that? I wonder if the There Will Be Blood thing is that it's so arm's length.
I think so.
You know, it's incredible performances, but in a weird way, you're sort of just watching them. You're
a
not like
character study about a man you cannot understand.
exactly like
Yes.
no
I
one is
understand him.
watching.
He wants oil.
Well, if you say he's an old man, I would agree.
I would be
As bad as
interested to challenge anyone to say, did you empathize or maybe not even empathize, but did you recognize or empathize the journey of that character? And I
Right.
think 70 to 80 to 90% of the people would be like, no, he was just an asshole. And it was an interesting character study because of that. But
He's
there's
a flawed guy.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
But I don't think you leave that movie being like Citizen Kane, right? You don't leave that movie going, oh, that guy, you know, at least I didn't.
I
sure
remember
did.
I remember that movie
love that
first
movie.
screening
Yeah.
and some people going, that might be the best movie ever made. Like there were those people. And then there were also people who were just like, I don't fucking get it. And there were people you were never going to get to sit down and watch it, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about this, even though it is purposefully withholding the kind of denouement you want out of a movie like this.
Yeah.
I just think there was something about being like, a guy finds a bag of money that he shouldn't have, and someone's chasing him.
That's exactly right.
And the film is so like to the bone as much as it is throat slit. There's like a framework of it that is so recognizable.
Yeah.
That helps
Damn, that
people
kolache was
recognize
good.
what it's doing well.
What's
it called?
Kolache.
A kolache?
Yes, it's a Czech thing, I think, but it's very popular in Texas in the South. Shout out my kolache eaters on this podcast. I'm sure there's a few. It's basically just like a savory sort of pastry thing.
With a hot dog in it?
Sometimes it has a hot dog.
Yours did, didn't
Yeah.
it?
What
It sure
Were
did.
you just eating it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you could put like eggs in there or jalapenos or.
But they do sweet ones as well.
They have sweet ones as well. Very nice. Brooklyn Kolache Company, DeKalb in Bedford. Anyone wants to go there? I go there all the time.
Yeah, I just think there's something to the sturdiness of the genre setup of this movie.
I agree. And I think that like in the 2007 of it all, we're kind of all over it.
I mean, my second favorite president, sorry, Donald's with us now, of course, but at the time, my favorite president, he was just winding down.
I'm sorry, your first favorite president is
George W. Bush.
Donald 45. Your second favorite's Donald 47.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, but
Sorry,
my favorite president at the time was winding down a second perfect term with no issues whatsoever.
Mission accomplished.
Every mission had been accomplished.
Yeah.
No, you're right. There's a lot
Crazy
of
how
malaise.
quickly we solved that one.
It's an interesting era because it's like it's a year before the recession where all the chickens have come home to roost.
Yes.
Right.
You know, so it's like the country is ostensibly like in like okay shape, I guess, but like everyone's just already like, nah, man, like the milk is spoiled. Like we suck. This has been years of us sucking.
It's the guy in the wheelchair at the end. Like it's like can't stop what's coming.
Right.
It's like in a way it's foreshadowing what we all already know.
Yeah, we're like, Jesus, we've just been like hearing about the fucking Iraq war and Katrina and like
it's just
all this shit.
This wins. It is anointed. But yet you step back and look at 2007, which is studied as a year of just like, we got everything. Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And the slate of the great movies of 2007 do not all reflect that feeling. It is not a year you look at where you're like, there's something in the air.
Right. I can
and
perceive
it's being expressed in all these movies in different ways.
It's
right?
such a good year for movies.
Yes,
too.
but I'm like, Zodiac and There Will Be Blood and No Country are on a spectrum. But then you're like, Atonement and Juno are in Best Picture. Michael Clayton is a little closer to that earlier batch.
That Michael Clayton feels like the Departed of that year.
Yes.
But
also is very much like that we got to keep our eye on the corporations. They might not have our best interests.
They have our best interest. I can't believe you would say that.
Just raising the question. Ratatouille.
Yeah, Ratatouille's about the corporations. You got to watch out for those guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. All right, I'm opening the dossier. Okay, in the late 1980s, Cormac McCarthy, normal guy, started working on a screenplay. Chill dude from minute one. Started working on a screenplay. I mean, God, like the whole thing where his first wife married him when he had no fucking money, and they lived in like a shack with no electricity or whatever. And he was like, "You have to go make money because I'm writing my books."
Yeah,
normal guy.
Yeah,
and like. He fucking got away with a lot of shit just by writing masterpieces. That ass, there's other guys who probably do that and they write unreadable shit.
It also took quite a bit of time.
It took him a long time, I think, to get noticed. Like his books, even his early books, are very good. Like he's a very interesting writer. But like, yes, it took him a minute.
Can you just imagine this guy with this headspace being unsuccessful?
Just not gonna eat a lot of beans.
Like, I gotta make this fucking work.
So in the 80s, he starts writing a screenplay called No Country for Old Men. He couldn't find any funding for it, and he puts it on the shelf. In 2005, of course.
Oh, before writing the novel?
Long before.
Oh, so he originally was like, this is a movie.
That is why that novel is so goddamn readable. Some of his novels are pretty tough to crack. And like, it is so dialogue heavy.
Damn.
It's a little more propulsive and plotty or whatever. And you can find, if you go to Texas State University, where I think like all his fucking documents are, a lot of fragments of this screenplay or whatever. But he eventually turns it into a book. It comes out in 2005, and the reviews even note like this feels like a Coen Brothers movie.
No
you know
way.
what I mean? Like they're also like, in general, like, it's quite cinematic, and like I can see its origins or whatever.
When does The Road come out? Is it right before or right after?
The Road is right after.
Okay.
And so the whole thing with Cormac McCarthy is in 2005 when he releases No Country for Old Men, he is a major novelist, But 1 year later, he releases The Road and becomes basically like a celebrity and one of the most famous writers alive.
It is kind of his No Country the Movie moment where everyone's like, okay, we all agree.
Yeah, well, it's a back-to-back.
You're the president
like,
of literature.
And he suddenly is like, he's getting dragged onto Oprah, and he's like a guy who's like never done any fucking press, and it's like he cannot avoid the phenomenon that book is.
Yeah.
Well, and just him becoming a late in life parent and being like, oh my God, it's a Cormac McCarthy novel with surface level emotion.
Here it comes.
The
Watch
Road
out.
also has The Road is about two people walking down a road.
Yes.
And it's a post-apocalyptic book, and it's about a father and son.
That's
It's
what I'm
so
saying.
easy to
But
get your hands
the
around.
That's
I
exactly
Love My
right,
Son
yeah.
of it made him an Oprah book club guy for the first time because it's like Oprah can't be like, look, I like this, but this might freak you guys out. The Road has that quarter. I mean, The Road, phenomenal book.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It is. It's very good. It is not my favorite by far, but it's very, very readable. Anyway, Scott Rudin, normal guy.
Normal guy.
Normal.
Yeah.
Gets the rights to this book, I think, before it even releases, and he
As he was wont to do.
Yeah.
yes,
Basically, this era is just
course,
like a
he's
fucking
scouting.
vacuum cleaner
Yeah. Yeah.
for
yeah.
any kind of buzzy manuscript.
Yeah.
and he has been working with the Coens since Raising Arizona. He oversaw production at the age of 28 on that movie. And this is the first time that he is the lead producer of a film of theirs.
Yes.
And he does their next three, I want to say.
That sounds
He does
right.
Burn After Reading and True Grit.
yes.
think-
Does he not do Llewyn Davis?
No, I think not.
Okay.
Let me double check.
But certainly
this.
True Grit.
No, he didn't do Burn. Let me-
Okay.
I want to get this right.
Yeah.
He did, but he
He did do Grit. We talk about
no,
it.
he definitely does Grit.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what the third thing he does is. It is Llewyn. So those are the three movies he worked with them on.
Yeah.
He gets them to commit to writing. He's hoping he can convince them
And
to direct
this is
it.
their first adaptation, right?
Yes, I mean you could call Oh Brother an adaptation of sorts because it's
of
the
the
Odyssey,
Odyssey,
but
yeah.
they would say they never even
Right.
opened the Odyssey.
But when they win Best Screenplay, Joel makes the joke of the only two authors we've ever adapted are Homer and Cormac McCarthy, which feels right.
Which feels right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just very quickly, the
Lady Killers is also an adaptation, I will say.
Oh,
but
that's
not
true.
of a book.
Remake.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yes.
I just think it's interesting, this sort of like forethought of normal guy Scott Rudin to approach the Coen brothers when they don't really adapt. You know, there's a
Yes.
lot of the appeal of their films is their language
Yeah.
and
well,
how funny they are and tone and commanding performances that are based on their scripts.
yes. Here are a couple things at play, though. One is Scott Rudin is so fucking hungry to win an Oscar. This is the movie that finally gets him Best Picture.
Yes.
Right.
And it felt like he had been running his entire life to get to that moment on stage.
Yes.
And
yeah,
he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
on stage and goes, oh my God, what a surprise. And I'm just like, my guy, you've been giving this speech in your bathroom mirror.
Yes, for a
Every
long
day
time.
of your life. And as David said, this movie has been on like a golden run from the moment it premiered at Cannes.
But
Right?
it was a tough year. I'm
Yes.
sure it was a hard-fought campaign or
But-
whatever.
yeah,
Especially because it was, I mean, Miramax is somewhat behind it, but it's a Paramount Vantage movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much
It was a
Paramount
weird
Vantage
setup.
was, sharp-elbowed in the
Right. It's
That's right,
campaign
yeah.
It's
sphere.
basically the final stages of post-Weinstein Miramax, which will completely dissolve before once again getting revived within a couple years.
Yeah.
And Vantage is shut down basically within 2 or 3 years of
I mean,
this.
actually, I think that Miramax. I think that 2006, 2007 time period
Yeah.
is when they end the partnership with Disney. They
that
stop-
sounds about right.
They stop being Touchstone and they go to Weinstein Company. They
I
pivot.
know the Weinstein, because Grindhouse is this same year.
That's right. Yes.
And that was a Weinstein Company movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it
it
was-
definitely, they had left before this.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, they officially basically shut it down in 2009. Disney did.
But Weinstein
Um,
Company is 05 or 06.
Yeah, well,
it's all in this
Fahrenheit
time period.
9/11 is the whole flashpoint. Anyway, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
And
It doesn't matter, but just point being,
yes.
it's the end of that run.
Fahrenheit
and
9/11, of course, a film that lied about my great president George W. Bush.
Your third favorite president.
Sorry, Leslye.
No, I was just going to say, like, this is the end of the Miramax run and the birth of Scott Rudin.
This is a weird co-production of two companies that are in transitional
that
stages.
hate each other. Yeah,
that hate
but
each
also
other,
transitional.
and they're about to close down.
Yeah.
Stuck between eras of two different tyrants, as we said, right?
Normal guys, yeah.
Yeah, but Scott Rudin's playbook for so long, beyond throwing things at people and demanding string cheese, was that he would just get, in his mind, the most talented auteurs under his wing.
Yep.
After they had proven themselves or once they needed some support.
Yeah.
And he was basically a human version of like Richard Kelly's The Box, right? Where he'd be like, just don't look. And if you need something, push a button and maybe someone gets hurt. But you don't have to know about it.
But you don't have to know about it.
Right?
It's
I'm
not
just going to fight all your fights for you and
Yeah.
insulate you from this. But his favorite thing to do was like find the material, find the director, or be like, what do you want to do next? And all of it felt like, in the grand scheme of things, one of these days this is going to pay off in me winning Best Picture, right?
Yes, the bathroom speeches begin. Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to find the right confluence of elements. So I think that's part of it. He's just constantly looking for what might have the juice and looking in unconventional places, to his credit. The other part of it is post-Lebowski, when they're kind of knocked down, they start taking for-hire writing jobs for the first time.
Right.
And so there's a lot of
I didn't realize
uncredited
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
But Lady Killer starts out as a script that they were not supposed to direct. And Tall Cruelty was a rewrite job they were not supposed to direct.
Yes,
they get talked into both of those. And then there's like the Gambit remake that someone else ends up making. There's some other stuff. So they're in this zone where they're a little for hire.
Yeah.
And Rudin's going by that playbook.
Oh, I see.
If
So it's a little more like set up than Rudin having the foresight of
correct.
Coen Brothers could write this.
Now, the last two times this happened, it didn't work out for them. But I think he's going, this feels like a better match for them. And if I can sneak them through the back door of just try adapting this, maybe they will once again fall in love with the material, agree to direct it, and this will actually work for them.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the only real Cormac McCarthy adaptation that had appeared in theaters before this is All the Pretty Horses, which is basically the greatest book ever written. The movie is not very good. And supposedly there's a better cut out there somewhere.
Right. It's a contested... certainly the movie that was released in theaters was not what anyone wanted to make. And the question is, was there a version of it that would have worked?
Well, I think that Billy Bob Thornton, by his own admission, essentially screened an assembly. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And that everybody freaked out.
Everyone was like, right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That book is also poetic, spare, difficult to adapt, like silent lead character, like whatever. This is a pulpy thriller. Like, and the Coens are like, we're very aware of McCarthy, but like this felt like something we could get our hands around much more. But they love that it's a pulpy book that's an ordinary, straightforward treatment of a crime story, and then the ending is so weird.
Yes.
They like that 3/4 in, suddenly they're like, main character's going to disappear. Like, or, you know what I mean? So that they like the chase story then getting subverted.
There's another thing they love, which is that for the first half of the 2000s, their big dream project was To the White Sea, as covered extensively in our friends Ray and Jordan's podcast, which was a novel adaptation that is mostly in the one character's head that doesn't have a ton of dialogue and is this sort of odd take on a survival film. And they could never get that off the ground, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But they, in reading this book, link back to that, the same thing that animated them, which is having a character who barely talks, who you get to define by his actions within a survival situation.
Right.
Right? That it is circumstantial behavior. Can you paint a full character portrait through that? That this guy speaks so rarely, he's at the center of the story, and we're only seeing him in a very specific set of circumstances, and we're learning who he is through how he tries to game out his continued survival.
That is what's up.
And so,
that is what's
up. They try to make the movie that is just all that, and it's a little too wild and a little too expensive.
Right.
They had Brad Pitt, he fell out, they were like, it's not getting greenlit if you don't have him, right? Suddenly, it's like Rudin's bringing them this. It's a smaller budget. It's a cleaner sell. But it's got the same juice that they had wanted to play with.
JJ thinks this, and I agree with him, that it is a lot there's a lot of it that reminds me of Miller's Crossing.
Mhm.
Both adapting writers, Miller's Crossing inadvertent or like more indirectly doing Dashiell Hammett, not as specific, but like as they would put it, like they like how Cormac McCarthy. This is a quote from Ethan. Refuses to tell you what people are thinking and just describes what people are doing.
I am so
they
into
like
that.
the lack of interiority. They're like,
Yeah.
that's engrossing.
Yeah.
That's like interesting in a movie. And they, you have in this book a bad guy, Anton Chigurh. I don't know if you guys agree he's a bad guy.
I think he raises some interesting
He's
ideas.
the marketplace of ideas. You have an ostensibly a good guy, Sheriff
Yeah.
Bell.
Yeah.
And then you have Llewellyn in the middle, who's kind of a gray guy, kind of a sort of like he's not malevolent, but he's kind of
Well, yeah, he's
fucking with
he's
things
driven
he
by
doesn't
greed,
understand.
which
He's
we all
driven by
can
greed.
relate with. He loves his wife, which we're all kind of
Yes.
down with. He does some stupid things where as the outsiders, we can definitely be like, I wouldn't do that, but like you don't know, you're kind of
I think
we're all
they're
kind of stupid.
Relatable.
You know,
Yes.
yeah.
100%.
And then, just the classic in too deep, in over his head,
Yes.
recognizable beginning, middle, and end to your everyman storyline.
And
You
you
know?
start out with this triangle of like a kind of an unlikely protagonist, right? Thrust in the middle of the wrong story,
Yes.
being chased
yeah.
by an unstoppable force,
Yes.
and the
yeah.
cop who is slowly narrowing in on it all from
Sort
a
of
distance.
circling around it
Right.
slower and closer.
Right.
They make it clear to Rudin, like, hey, this is going to be violent. Like, just making sure you're
FYI.
cool with that.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, yeah. They have the line of one of
It
us
sounded
types.
a little different than that, but yes.
Yeah, of course. One of us types into the computer, the other holds the spine of the book flat. That's very funny. With the book, every other chapter is narrative, and then every other chapter is an interior monologue from the sheriff.
From Bell.
They get rid of a lot of his monologues.
You only really do the opening, and then some of it he says out loud in dialogue. But that's the only voiceover.
Right.
They
Right.
basically they strip out dialogue wherever they can. They like
Yes, they
the
do.
least
yeah.
possible.
Which is
dialogue.
another interesting thing of this movie, because they are certainly in the conversation of the best dialogue writers alive.
That's the thing.
Their movies are so talky.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think their films have always been consciously. I think they're never really defining their characters through their language in a traditional way, because one of the things I think they're so smart about as dialogue writers is that their characters are usually using dialogue to lie.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If not for
Yeah.
like devious criminal means, in like saying who they want to be or how they want people to see them.
Yeah,
And they've
that's a really
always
good
been
point.
defining
Yes,
through
yeah.
action. And what's
Yeah.
interesting is the clash between the action and the words, right? I think in terms of why this movie just connected with everyone, there's something about them pulling back the dialogue a bunch
Yes, yeah.
that I think sometimes their detractors would get distracted by the tap dancing of the verbiage and going like, who are they trying to impress?
Well, this is the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Is this too clever?
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I am struggling with this because there are a lot of reasons I would call this a masterpiece.
Mhm.
A lot of reasons. But the last 2 times that I've been on this podcast and I've gotten the opportunity to talk about masterpieces, I've always felt this way, that a masterpiece has to have something personal about it. And these like Minnesotan Jewish guys,
Yeah.
it's like, if I have that criteria, which I made for myself, by the way, so I can absolutely break that. But what I will say is that what this movie does, because the script is so faithful to the source material, is that it shows you what phenomenal filmmakers they are.
Exactly.
Yes.
It does
absolutely.
not there's nothing covering it. There's nothing going like, but also we smoothed it over with this thing, and like we created a character that represented that, and like, and then because you could say Barton Fink, you could say Fargo, you could say
Absolutely.
Miller's Crossing, for fuck's sake. Like there's also an argument for A Serious Man, for sure. Like, so I think, but what's so energizing about it, and I think it's exactly what you're saying about everywhere one was like they're back,
Mhm.
is that you really get to see my fucking God, they can shoot a movie
Better than anyone else.
better than anyone
and
else.
basically from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like just right
from
out
the
of the
start.
gate. Yeah.
Boom. Gorgeous shot.
Right.
I was sheriff of this. Boom. You know, like
Right.
it just.
It's some of the most amazing like shot making in this movie. It's look, it's pretty.
It's really
It's a pretty movie.
It's really pretty.
It's
And
all the pretty
It's
movies.
a dramatic part of the country. Looks really cool.
There Will Be Blood wins
It
cinematography
does,
this year.
and there's nothing wrong with that win. Elsewith
Absolutely.
is a genius.
But
and
let's
that movie
acknowledge
looks
the
incredible.
tricky thing that happened.
Yeah.
Double Deke.
Uh,
Deakins was
I was gonna-
nominated
for-
against himself
for Jesse James.
for Jesse James
which
in
is
this.
the thing with this. I think
So
is
then it splits the vote.
I think
I
a little
kinda
bit
think
of
so.
that.
Yeah.
It's like this.
No disrespect to Ellsworth, who once again,
He's a great DP,
King
and that
of
movie
shit.
looks very good.
yes,
That movie's also got some shot making. But No Country, I think, is Deakins, just like tweaking the knobs perfectly, right?
Yes.
Like it is not a showy piece of, cinematography.
Jesse James is
Exactly. Jesse
very
James
showy.
is like, you're like every single frame, you're like, good Lord. Like, I'd
Right.
like that framed, please. Like, actually hang that in my house. It's an amazing looking
perhaps
movie.
his prettiest movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bit much at times, as is everything in that fucking movie, which I like. I do like that movie. But right, I'm sure he split the vote against himself. This
Two
should be
different
his crowning
flavors
moment.
of himself.
He should be winning with the Coens.
It takes another 10 years for him
Correct.
to win cinematography.
Yes.
Jesus.
He
For
should-
the first time, and then he won 3 in a row. It was the
10
same thing they
years.
did
Won
to Lubeski.
2, I think.
Okay,
He won for
it was Blade Runner in 1917.
He won for Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
Which is an amazing looking
Gorgeous.
movie
Yes.
Gorgeous.
that rocks, but I think at the time people were like, kind of a bummer he won for like a sequel to a movie he wasn't the DP on.
but it
you
was
know?
also like, guys, please, can we get this over
Yes.
with?
And then he won again for 1917. And that's a movie that is loud cinematography, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's a
Yeah,
single
'cause
shot
it's
and all
that,
that.
yeah.
And it was this sort of technical achievement, and that was a fine win. But it's he should have won with the Coens when they won Best Picture.
Yes, it would have been.
He's
This is
more
what-
tied to the Coens than any other filmmaker.
I agree.
And this is a triumphant work that he made with them. But whatever. I mean, I don't
Well, I
fucking know. Maybe
No,
I should
no.
just go sit in a chair.
No, I'm with
should.
you. I have a
the
theory.
one behind the microphone in the office is where we record.
Oh,
Blank
that's
Check,
right.
The
Oh,
podcast.
that's right.
But here's what I would say about that. Here's why there's a possibility this is why he may not have won, right? Yes, there are gorgeous shots in this movie. Yes, there are beautiful landscapes. Yes, there's, a lot of what I would call, beautiful showy shots,
Yeah.
right? And this is not my idea. It's actually from the YouTube channel Every Frame of Painting.
Great
YouTube channel.
Check those guys
Th-
out.
they're-
Yeah.
Not that they need plugs.
Check them out. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
his video on
The
specifically
Spielberg one?
Well, but the Coens one where he
So,
talks
yes,
about
so
the
he
way
talks-
they shoot conversations.
So he talks about shot, reverse shot.
Yep.
So he says, this is how they work, essentially. That's where they shine, right?
Mhm.
And Deakins in that video makes the point that with the Coens, he uses the long lens for the coverage of the characters.
Yes.
He is basically
So-
always inside the conversation. You're almost never getting over the shoulders. The camera
Nope.
is in between the
Nope.
people talking.
It's in
It
between
was-
the people. It's the
Right. Sonnenfeld loved a wide lens, and Deakins is the one who's like, guys,
guys.
a little
do it.
bit
And I think that,
long.
for example, the coin toss scene,
Friendo.
as great as Friendo is in terms of dialogue, which, by the way, that's what they shine at,
Yep.
right? What really kills me in that scene is the framing of them.
The sense of space.
The sense of space.
Around
We don't need an
Jean.
establishing shot
Nope.
that tells you everything about that space. You see how out of place Chigurh is,
Mhm.
and you see how much Gene Jones lives in that world.
And there's something even haunting about Gene being in this very busy frame behind the counter, all
Yeah.
the stuff hanging behind him on the wall,
Mm.
and then the window behind him,
Yeah.
and the sense of kind of endless emptiness behind him.
Yes, that's
Right?
true. Yeah.
This constant reminder that these big action sort of moments in this film are happening in spots in between emptiness.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right. And so
You're in the
I
middle of nowhere.
and I think that's my point about Deakins
Yeah.
is that he just doesn't in this film,
Mhm.
he's doing perfectly what they do.
Yes.
Their editor is doing perfectly what they do, which is
their
the
editor, who is them.
yeah, who is
Yes.
them,
Yes.
right?
Right.
The rhythm of the dialogue
Yep.
they understand, even if it's not what they quote unquote wrote.
Yeah.
It is what they do best.
It's a good match.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just, I wonder if that's why he just didn't have the, the landscapey, beautiful. I don't know but I agree. He should have won with them, is my point. He did the apex of what they do.
I also think
Understood the assignment, as the kids say.
I've said this in other episodes. I think
I do think he's aura farming. Anton Chigurh is aura farming a bit.
I don't even know what this.
I don't know what you
It's
mean.
the new things the kids say. It basically seems to mean like
Aura?
being aura, like AURA. You know how kids are always saying that like people have aura.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess it's just any scene in a movie where you kind of stand there looking cool. Everyone's like, bro is aura farming.
Okay.
Like I've been seeing
You're trying to get the clout for
Yeah.
establishing great vibes or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
like, it's
Reaching
sort of
out
like,
to a new audience.
it's
Yeah.
both praise and slightly derogatory, I guess, where it's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're trying to make our show catch on more with the TikTok generation.
Yeah.
Is Llewellyn Moss Sigma?
I
Can we talk about this?
I do
Oh my
think
God.
I'm pointing
I'm
up at
dead.
the word
I'm like
Sigma.
throwing myself off a
he's having
bridge.
a brat summer.
Podcast over.
Well, no, Chigurh's having a brat summer.
He is. He's quite a brat, actually.
He is serving.
It would be funny if Woody
Understand what you
Harrelson
guys
was
are
like,
saying.
Chigurh is having a brat summer to like Stephen Root or whatever.
Two things about Deakins. One, I think he's better at shooting actors than anyone else alive, period.
Yeah.
And it's so much his background as a documentary cinematographer, not being able to compose and block.
Yes. Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
has a really good instinct of understanding exactly
I
where
didn't
he
know that
needs
about
to be in relation to the performer
Yeah.
to capture best what they're doing.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of very unshowy camera's always just in the exact right place
Right.
Yeah.
to make everyone pop. Because basically every performance is good in a movie that
And
Roger
he
Deakins
knows that
shot.
the thing
Yes.
that is going to be scary about that scene is not the camera.
Yep.
The camera is not going to make the scene
He
scary.
understands always that he's in service of the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then secondly, he is able to shoot inanimate things with I was gonna say inanimate things, but it just non-people, things that are not faces,
Things that are,
with a sense of innate power and dread.
Agreed.
The shot early on in the movie of the scuff marks left from the boot
Jesus. Yeah.
of the sheriff that Chigurh has choked out with the handcuffs is just like one of the most striking images in this film.
I agree.
And
And it also is the moment, the first time I saw it, it is the moment where it's like, get on board.
yes,
This is the fucking movie.
yep.
There's no fake
We're
out.
starting
Yes.
here.
It's just, we're starting here. It's only going to go, we're starting at 11. Get excited.
I do think
every
it's weird there's no bloopers at the end. Like he flips the coin, he's like, ah! Like,
That was the mid 2000s, by the way.
Yeah.
For the,
Yeah.
Life is a highway, whatever. Just, you know.
Every time he
This is the dawning. Yeah.
every time Deakins captures the key lock being shot through with the cattle gun. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever
say
it
it
is,
again?
the cylinder.
Yeah.
The cylinder of the key at the fucking door.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the one
Yeah.
time, maybe it happens a couple of times, the one time I remember distinctly where he quickly cuts to a shot of the impact, the imprint left on the back wall of the
Yes.
motel room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff like that is somehow like the most upsetting imagery in the movie,
Yeah.
more than the stuff that is aggressively
Blood.
bloody.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
All right, just to wrap up the dossier,
Dossier.
McCarthy did visit the set, but I think they basically just described him as amiable and gracious, not like there to render judgment.
They
Yeah.
talk about him coming to a screening
Yes.
early on, and
They
they
say
heard
he
him laugh a
laughed.
couple times,
Right.
and they went, I guess that means he approves.
I mean, famously, that means the Coens like to take.
Yes.
I've heard that from multiple people. I feel like someone just texted us that,
Yes,
that like they don't really give a lot of notes. And then you do the take, and if they're like, ha, 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 then it's like, all right, I guess we're done.
Wrap it
harder-
up.
Yes.
Yeah.
In unison. Like,
Moving on. Yeah.
And does not need to be a funny scene. They just like
Right.
giggle maniacally if they like what's happening.
So this is a crazy, this is interesting, just behind the scenes stuff. So Rudin is in the final stages of his deal at Paramount
Mhm.
when he gets the rights to this novel. Paramount is turning Paramount Classics into Paramount Vantage, which is now Paramount Nothing, Paramount Cowards, or Paramount MAGA, or whatever Paramount's up to these days.
It was just so funny when it went for Paramount Classics, which was like, this is the most erudite version of our like archway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it was the Paramount like gates framed by like flowers and shit, and this like dainty like calligraphy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was replaced with like fucking punk rock, bar, bathroom, label maker. The sticker isn't even staying. It's carved Vantage.
Click, click, click. Anyway, so he will then move on to produce films with a number of studios, including post-Harvey Miramax.
Yes.
To deal with this transition, he proposes that both No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood, a movie he also executive produced, be set up as co-productions of Paramount, Vantage, and Miramax.
Right. They have they're
basically
flipped.
Miramax essentially being, of course, a Disney label,
Right.
in the dying days of that.
But isn't it? No Country was Miramax domestic, Paramount overseas, and There Will Be Blood was the opposite.
I feel like
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you gonna say?
No, I feel like knowing Miramax.
Yeah, you're right, Griffin.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it is? Okay,
It was
never mind.
Miramax had
Never mind.
domestic on this and international on Blood, and vice versa for
Copy that.
the,
I cannot believe you knew that. I can't
broken
believe
he's
that.
a
my
God.
broken
What the
fucking
fuck?
brain.
Rudin also produced Darjeeling Limited and Margot The Wedding in 2007. So he's just working with a lot of auteurs making difficult movies. Like Darjeeling is a bit of a difficult swing for Anderson that doesn't go over perfectly. Margot is an insanely difficult swing for Baumbach that goes over horribly.
Yeah.
And is still, I feel like, the movie when people are like, I like Noah Baumbach. I'm like, Margot at the Wedding. And there's the 5% of psychos who are like, oh, my favorite. And the others are like, I never saw it, or I hated it. It was like drinking poison.
The Rudin magic was that he was like a fucking mafia boss who was like, if this is what you want to make, I will steamroll anyone who stands in the way.
Yeah.
I got you 100%.
I mean, it's a really good strategy.
Yes.
If you think about it.
It's how he attracted the best directors because he was just like, you will be protected.
It's actually like, actually Netflix kind of did that in its early days. It was
We're not going to give you notes.
We're not going to give you notes. Just come in here and fucking do it.
Right.
And
now they still don't give notes, right?
Yeah.
The normal.
No, the Netflix thing was for so long, what is the movie?
They're super chill.
They're
And
super
they're
chill.
all about artistic vision.
And then,
for sure.
they like everything to look however it should look.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
And they never
And they can
demand that every movie open with an overhead helicopter shot of the city it's set in.
Where they're basically like,
They
guys,
have some
people-
numbers that tell them if that isn't the
Well,
opening
it's because
shot, then people
are
won't
putting
finish a
their
movie.
like fucking Trader Joe's dinner on their table with their mug. They don't want to pay attention for 35 minutes.
No, thank you.
Anyway,
By the way, same.
No, but yes, the Netflix strategy versus the Rudin thing. I feel like the Netflix strategy was for years them being like, what is the script everyone else has turned down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We
that's
will
what
let
it
you
is.
make it here with a lot of money and no notes. And then some of those came out and you were like, oh, I get why everyone turned this script
down. No Country, they write, by the way, just to point out, they write at the same time as A Serious Man and Burn After Reading. I think it's important to note that because it's like they hadn't made an original movie in a long time.
Right.
At this point. And it's not like this is them and then they're like, maybe we should. It's like they do have these original ideas cooking at the same time.
But also this period of like profound productivity for them, they start being like once a year guys.
For a little while.
This run of bangers that all came out of the same creative bubble.
An interesting fact about this movie is that apart from Stephen Root, I think everyone in it is someone they've never worked with before.
Is a first timer.
And it doesn't feel that way.
No.
Everyone in it, you're like, oh, these feel like Coen guys.
That's wild.
And obviously they worked with Brolin again.
Two times.
Did they ever work with Bardem or TLJ again, though?
No.
I feel like, did they ever use Garrett Dillahunt again? He's another guy that feels like they would have used him like 5 times.
Yes,
He
you
is
know,
great.
he auditioned for Llewellyn 5
For Llewellyn,
times.
yeah. 5 times?
That's what I read. And he could not be more perfectly used in the place he is.
Should have been, yeah.
It is also funny that he is also in Jesse James and kind of plays a very similar role.
What happened with the Heath Ledger of it all?
They said
Go ahead.
he was their first choice, which makes perfect sense after Brokeback. But also, I think it would have felt a little repetitive. I'm sure he would have figured out a way to make it a distinct performance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But you're casting him off of the strength of the thing he just did really well, which is cowboy who doesn't say much.
However,
Yes.
you know, you've got Joker in the midst of all of that. So
it would be an amazing in between if he'd been in this.
Yeah,
like,
I agree with everything you just
Yes,
said.
right.
I just wonder if that would have impacted it at all. Probably not.
Dark Knight comes out like 8-9 months after this.
Oh, it's after
I wonder
this.
if he had said yes to this, if he would have been able to do Dark Knight. He said he turned it down because his daughter had just been born and he wanted to spend time with her.
I see. Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yep.
And then after 9-10 months, whatever, he accepts the Dark Knight role. It feels
I
like
see. Okay.
everything
I see.
landed
So
where
it should have happened. Yes.
It's just
I see what you're
unfortunate
saying.
that
It's
he
unfortunate.
passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
Brolin famously was shooting Planet Terror, which he's really good in.
Yes.
Really funny performance.
Yes.
He should do more of that. And he does. He works a lot. I shouldn't really complain. And famously got Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino to help him with his audition tape.
Right.
And the Coens, when they got it, said, "Who lit this?" Not joking.
Yes.
But
he's-
they liked it.
Yes.
How it was lit. They didn't like him, and they said no. And he said that
burn.
he said he thinks it hurt that he was like really big
Mhm.
and he had this goatee for the role in Planet Terror, and he thinks he didn't look right, but he was also just like, I don't think they liked me. Like, it's fine. Like, I wasn't vibing for them.
Let's also
Right.
talk about
But they
his...
couldn't cast this role.
Right. Let's talk
And-
about Brolin's status at this point.
Sure.
Right? 'Cause
Yeah, that's a good
obviously
point. Yeah.
He's like a teen actor, a son of an actor.
He's
Yeah.
a Nepo baby. His dad is a pretty famous actor. I
Yes.
feel like maybe people don't put enough respect on James Brolin's name anymore, but the Coens would certainly like know
Know who he
that.
was.
But
yeah.
he was kind of like an A+ B-list star, if that makes sense.
He was very similar to James Garner to me. Like, where it's like a big TV actor and a sort of solidish
had
movie
the
actor.
absolute leading man vibes.
Yeah.
Never
a
totally
face.
clicked
Yeah.
as a movie star.
Handsome.
hair.
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
famously very close to being James Bond. He was almost
Yeah.
the only
you kidding
American
me?
James Bond
And of course, he's been married to
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand for many
for a very
years.
long time. Right.
Wow.
But then
which I'm sure
wow.
is normal as well. We're talking about so many normal.
he
people.
has this-
super normal.
He
yeah.
has this run of like Thrashin' and Goonies and all his teen performances, right? Where he has just kind of like out of the box charisma
Right,
as a
right.
kid.
Yeah.
And then talks about that he hit a point where he was just like, I want to get good at doing this. And tried to really like
Yes,
study,
absolutely. Yeah.
learn how to be better. And then yet was still stuck in kind of like a true B-movie fourth lead zone.
It's a
Famously
Jessica
15.
Lange moment,
Yep.
right? Like it's a King Kong. Hold on a second.
Yep.
Like
One moment,
Yep.
in
Oscar.
in
you know?
2000, right?
But
In-
he was
in-
stuck there for a while.
Well, in
Yeah,
2000,
he was
he's in
stuck for a
Hollow
while.
Man
Yeah.
as like the guy where you're like, hey, Hollow Man, bash this guy's fucking head. And he
That's the
sucks.
thing. He was
sucks.
always
He's like,
the-
what's the matter, girlfriend? You're like, fucking, I can't wait for the Invisible Man to waste this guy.
Fuck this guy.
he
up.
always had kind of like
He's gonna die like second.
right
Yeah.
fake lead.
Get him out of
roles.
here.
Right.
And then he's in like fucking nothing.
The
Like in
villain in
2000
Into the Blue.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
in 2004. Apparently, he's in Melinda. I don't remember that. I did see that film.
Uh,
2005. He's the villain in the Paul Walker, Jessica Alba shirtless film Into the Blue. One of those films where it was like, "What's the plot?" And they're like, "Shirtless,
Shirtless.
Yes.
Yeah.
bathing
Chest,
suit."
hair.
2006. He was in The Dead Girl. That didn't go
God.
anywhere. And then
Yeah.
in 2007,
Right.
he's in Grindhouse.
Mhm.
In the Valley of Allah, the movie that Tommy Lee Jones gets an Oscar nomination for, No Country for Old Men, and American Gangster. And he's also in the Coen Brothers short film
to each his own cinema.
To each his own cinema.
Right.
The next year, he does W,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where he plays my favorite president.
Yeah.
Besides
Besides,
established, besides the later one.
Yeah.
Not Obama.
Yeah.
Not Joe. No,
Not
it is
Joe.
Joe. It's actually
it's a
Joe.
It's
It's
Joe.
Joe.
It's Joe.
It's Joe.
Yeah.
We're back
that
on
crazy
Joe.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Milk, which he is phenomenal.
He's
in.
phenomenal.
Yes.
And he
Yeah,
gets
and
an
he gets
Oscar
his,
nomination.
Very,
yes,
very good
his
in that.
first Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Yes.
His
And-
only?
Only,
And then
yeah.
after that, he has kind of a weird Are You a Star thing where it's like Jonah Hex. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
He, for a long time, was one of those
And in
actors.
Black 3, like
Any
he's good in
movie
it. But
he
the,
was-
the Old Boy remake.
Old
Yes.
Boy
which is
remake.
so misguided, you know.
He
Yeah.
felt quietly like box office poison for a while, where
Yeah.
anytime he was in a supporting part, it worked. And anytime a movie was pinned on him, it was a
It
disaster.
was a disaster.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And
but
then
he's a
finally
working
broken
actor.
it. Yes.
He's a working actor. And then he played Thanos. And it was one of those things where you're like, that feels like a bummer for him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like Marvel's not going to pull that off. And
And then
God
they
bless
did.
them, they pulled that
Yeah.
off.
And
And he pulled that off.
It was when Ruffalo was cast as Hulk.
Yeah.
Same sort of feeling,
Totally.
right?
Right.
You're like, what?
Why
the
is he
fuck?
doing
Why
that?
is he doing that?
Ruffalo?
But to
Like-
And
your
then
point-
fantastic. And then
Yes,
fantastic.
to your
Yeah.
point, it's the fact that he pulled it off. That people were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he actually gave a real performance
He-
here.
he
is
really
the only
did.
reason this shit
Is
And
working.
then- I mean, he has this run that's like Inherent Vice,
Yeah.
Sicario, which he's great in.
Of course,
He's-
they table and
he's
Jessica.
Everest,
very
where
good in
he's
that.
one of the 10 people trying to climb
Yeah.
Everest.
Yeah.
Hail Caesar, which he's great in.
Unbelievable.
Only the Brave, he's phenomenal
Yeah.
in that movie. And then the fucking 2 Avengers movies, the Sicario sequel. And then The Dunes,
Yeah.
which he's wonderful in.
No, I think he's
And now
totally
he has,
figured
like-
out his thing now.
But
And now he's
been a
doing
little
Zach's
quieter
movie.
lately, but now he's in Zach's movie.
Right.
He's in the new Knives Out.
Thrilled about that. Yeah.
He's in The Running Man, the
Yeah.
Edgar Wright movie, and he's in this Ridley Scott movie called The Dog Stars. That's like a post-apocalyptic movie with like
Yeah.
Jacob Elordi and him. I'm sure that'll be fun. you know.
yes.
Whatever.
It's just,
Sure,
it's
fine.
funny how
Sign
there
me
was.
up.
There's like, fine.
Ridley Scott shot in like 2 days. He just set up a bunch of cameras in a circle and was like, "Go on, fucking."
that moment in 2007 where suddenly it was like, Josh Brolin is in 5 movies this year, working with all major directors.
Right. What
Yes,
Who
yeah.
made a phone call?
And
Like,
it's
what
sort
is
of
this?
right, like what we
Yeah.
were talking about in our Mulholland Drive episode
Yeah,
of like, why
yeah,
did Hollywood
this
just
is the
suddenly
guy.
all decide this guy?
Yeah.
And then you see the performances and you're like, this guy figured his thing out.
That's the thing.
right. This
Brolin-
wasn't like some concerted
Yeah.
press effort.
Yes.
Brolin famously was like day trading to
Right.
make money,
Yes.
all the way up to making No Country.
Was married
He-
to Diane Lane, was mostly at this point
That's
the guy
fucking
who stands next to Diane Lane while she's having a second
That's
act
True.
sort of
right.
revival.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. yeah.
He says he had a great
Unfaithful was
agent.
like 2001.
He's
2002,
sitting next to her at the Oscars.
Masterpieces.
Yeah. So 5 years he's sitting
Yep.
next to her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love that movie so much when she's so horny that the wind just fucking blows her across the street. It's one of my favorite
God,
movies of all time.
it's-
That is a movie where people are like, "Oh, isn't it bad?" And I'm like, "Watch it again.
No, it is.
Sit your ass down."
Oh, it is a
That's
fantastic
the
movie.
horny version of Sandra Bullock being so racist she falls down the stairs and crash.
It truly is. That is what happens in Crash. You can't convince me otherwise. She's so goddamn racist. The floor is like, "Down you go, bitch."
These people.
Yes. I truly said to my brother, I remember on Next Theater, I was like, am I supposed to take away that she was so mean to her maid that the maid like cleaned the floors too hard and that's why she fell down the stairs?
she's so
my brother was
racist.
like, what?
She
And I was
lost
like,
her
what am I
center of
supposed to
gravity.
Oh my God, you guys. You're going to kill me. I'm going to have a heart attack.
But Brolin talks about that he had the clarity of just being like, I know this is my part. I like see how to
I
do
see
this.
it. Yeah, this is
And-
me.
And I've
He
like
said-
had something in me that I haven't gotten the chance to show, and this is the vehicle, and I have to figure out
And
how
I
to
got
get
to
through
figure out
that.
how to get it. Yeah.
And he said like I had a very good agent who was very persistent, who wasn't like he's perfect for the part, but was just like, can you just meet him?
And especially as
And
they're
was
not
just
finding
persistent.
someone else,
Exactly.
they could wait back and hold back 6 weeks later, go like, you want to take another look at Josh?
yes,
and the
yeah, I guess
way-
we have to, yeah.
Right.
He puts it is finally they're like, fine. He can come down. He says, I studied a few scenes. I came down and met them. There was really no reaction in the meeting. I walked out being like, well, it was really nice that I met the Coens. I'm a big fan. And by the time he got home, he got the part. You know, he was told he got the part. Ethan says, like, they had just talked to both Tommy and Javier
Mhm.
that day. And he comes in and that combo helped them be like, yeah, these 3 guys
Right.
circling each other
Those are
kind of
different
makes sense to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's also the kind of like, it's weird. It's like Tommy Lee Jones is a major star, but obviously he's not exactly like a guaranteed box office guy at that point.
No.
But he's a major star.
But like fucking Man of the House had come out to pin drops 2 years before this.
Pin drops.
Javier Bardem is like a respected actor who is certainly not a box office guy yet.
He's
at
got
all.
one
But he-
Schnabel Oscar nom under his.
For Before Night Falls.
Right.
She's
But
very
this
good
is
at
his
it.
first English speaking movie.
He's in Collateral in
Yeah.
like that one scene, but that's about it.
Right. Yeah.
He is largely a Spanish actor.
During the press tour for this, he did not speak much English.
Right.
And his
I
Oscar
see.
speech he gives is a minute and a half, and half of it's in Spanish. Like it was
You know-
that thing where you were like, "Oh, he kind of
I've-
learned this phonetically."
I've never
Right.
seen.
Now he's
when
fully
I did
bilingual.
when I did Acolyte, Li Zhengzhe did the entire show phonetically.
That's
insane.
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah.
That might have helped his performance in a weird way. Just because
Well, that
like
was-
Jedi are so remote, and his character's obviously kind of, where it's like that's sort of an interesting thing to hand an actor.
Yeah.
But
He also just
this probably seems hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think with Javier in this movie, what's great is that it helps. Like he doesn't need to speak until he needs to speak.
And there's also something about the unease of the language.
So everything is, Chigurh, as
yes.
you know, and you're probably about to read, David, Cormac wanted to create a character that was ethnically ambiguous.
Right.
You didn't read it and imagine a human person.
Sure.
Right. So I think that was also, and I don't know if this is ignorant on their part, the Coen brothers, but it seemed to me that they certainly wanted someone that looked ethnically ambiguous. Like what, and what accent is that? Which is why the phonetic.
Yes, I think so too.
That is good, like the fact that, when he spoke much later, I think actually, it was, I told them I don't like violence,
right,
and I don't drive.
He talks about that he loved the Coen brothers so much. He said yes to this, even though he was like, I don't get this. I'm not qualified.
I have no idea what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But he has one of the most unique faces.
Absolutely.
I feel like he has talked about like, thank God I broke my nose at a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I would have been a movie star.
Oh, have you guys seen Haman, by the way?
Yes.
I
You
absolutely
have.
have.
One of the wildest looks anyone has ever had.
There's
crazy.
There was this thing in the 90s as I was a burgeoning cinema fan, and I realized there was this sort of these Spanish films in the 90s that involved insane amounts of sex and nudity. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
Yes.
Insane.
Bigas Luna, one of these guys who'd be like, titties. Or I would just sort of be like, pulling that off the old library shelf.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it is very funny to see him.
Yes.
First of all,
that's young Javier Bardem.
That's
early
him and
90s.
her. It's him and
right.
Penelope,
many years
who's
before they actually
18,
end up together.
I think, and and he's like 24.
Yes.
But actually, in that movie, I think
very like skinny and sexy in it.
Exactly, and he's very aware of how his physicality is defining his character. Right.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of shots of his cock. Sorry, his cock in underwear. Sorry, to be clear for the viewers.
His bulge.
His bulge is heavily featured.
Yeah.
He's very much objectified by some of the characters in the film. Specifically, if you don't know the plot of this movie, you don't really need to know it. It's everyone's having sex.
Yeah, it's like a relationship that turns disastrous
soap opera.
Quickly
It's whatever. So
it's called Hamon, which of course means ham.
Yeah.
Yes.
But point being, I think that was kind of his first role.
That was his calling card.
That's his calling card, and then he does Live Flesh, which rocks.
Perdita Durango with Rosie Perez.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does the Before Night Falls, obviously, is the big breakout, and then the Sea Inside, another fucking paralyzed guy movie. Sorry to be like painting with a broad brush. That and Diving Bell and Butterfly. But
there's something to
he's
him.
very good. That's a movie where you were like, he's very good in this. Like, the movie is fine. It's a solid kind of.
I think the whole Bardem
biopic
thing is that like his energy, his look, his voice are all constantly like teetering on this very, very delicate edge between terrifying, sexy, and silly.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's
and
what
it's
it is.
like it takes like 1 degree for him to swing so wildly the other way.
That is what it is.
And it doesn't make sense that he can kind of hold all three.
There is something, it's going to sound weird, but there is something that is silly about the Chigurh performance.
I think
there
that's
is something
what they're smart
very
about.
small. It's like 5%.
Yes.
But if you, as an actor, the only thing that's said about him in the book is that he doesn't have a sense of humor.
Yes.
There's no description of him. There's no like inside his head, what's going on. He thought blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or he does, it's a little bit. But I think you have to have a sense of humor to play him.
I agree. And I also think that's so much of the styling, which they talk about.
The hair.
The hair. I was just going to say, the hair is like...
And they put him in the outfit. They do a camera test, and he's like, is this a prank? Are you fucking kidding me? Why would I look like this?
That's
so
the 5%
goofy.
silly.
Right. And he was
That's a silly haircut.
They were laughing hysterically. I thought they were bullying me.
Yeah.
I thought they were setting me up for failure. But the thing he does smartly is understand the funniest thing he could do is not play the look at all. Right?
And he does not.
Right.
He lets it speak for himself.
He knows
for
it's
itself.
funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the sort of like conflict within it of just, I cannot get my head around this guy.
And they found
and the
that
book
hair
describes
from
nothing.
They found the hair from a photograph of a guy in the 70s who's at a brothel.
It's a book that Tommy Lee Jones had, supposedly. I just love the idea of, hey, fellas, wanna read my book?
That is a great accent.
Really
fantastic.
Violence. He does hate violence, but
doesn't drive.
He doesn't drive, but he would apparently, like, he says, like, I managed to drive myself into the park to become evil, to become death. When the camera stopped rolling, I would beg the Coen brothers, like, all right, can you get the gun out of my face? And he said they would just be giggling. I mean, which is just like the story every actor says.
Yes.
Yeah.
The haircut, supposedly a photograph of a guy in a bar at a Texas border town in 1979. Their haircut is acting by itself, Bardem says. You don't have to act weird.
Right, yeah. Don't play the hair. No, you have it.
To me, he looks like, and this is the thing they thought about it, like he looks like a fucking monk or knight from like the Crusades.
Sure.
Like that's like what people look like in paintings from the 10th century.
I feel like they also joke about Dorothy Hamill, but that's part of it. Of like,
it just looks like he walked out of another dimension.
That's what
like,
it is.
That's just what it is. Where
That's
you're like, this is a human person and he does bleed and shit. Like, it's not like he's the Terminator exactly.
I agree.
But you are just like, is this someone from, just like another world?
Here's
Venus.
like an alien or something.
Here's the thing I will admit that makes me sound stupid, because I am stupid.
You're a big stupid idiot.
Excuse me, I'm a little stupid idiot. I'm very petite.
You're physically small.
There's
You're
certainly
stupid.
like
idiocy.
Mucho grande.
When I speak to you, I mean, the first thing I think of is ignorance.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
First and foremost. I remember watching this movie for the first time and getting to the gravestone at the end and being like, oh, this was a period piece?
Yeah, right.
Amen.
It's 1980. Yeah,
And
they do.
every time I watch it,
The first time I felt that too.
I still get so caught up in it, I forget it was not set in 2007
Right.
Yeah.
until the Vietnam line.
Yep.
Which somehow
Agreed.
I just didn't clock the first time. I wasn't doing the math on.
The production design is astonishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're not playing period that hard.
No.
Right? And it's like the earmarks are the lack of certain technology, what have you, right? But there is something kind of timeless about it. And yet, Chigurh is the only character who is kind of styled specifically
of that
to
time.
the 70s in a way that is then so jarring.
Yes,
Where
yes,
you're
yes.
like, why is this guy like a weird amalgamation of trends? You know?
Oh, of trends. Yes. I see what you mean. Yeah.
And not like high fashion trends, but you're like,
No.
he's sort of got like a Canadian tuxedo thing going on.
He's got very 70s boots.
Yes,
on.
and like dark
the
denim and-
costume designer talked about how she wanted the boots to feel like a weapon,
Yes.
like knives, basically.
And
And
his
she said
pants-
she was like, no one else in the movie is wearing this style of boot.
No,
His
they're all
pants
wearing
are even
cowboy
kind of
boots.
like
Yes, exactly,
flared
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's got a heel to it,
Yeah.
sort of.
But there's the moment late in the film when he's trying to extract the bullet from his leg.
Woo.
And they cut to him sitting
Just
in the
super
motel
hot.
bathroom,
Yeah.
right? With his legs crossed,
Gorgeous.
using tweezers to try to pull out a bullet shard. And he's like bending
Buckshot.
down. And he
Yeah.
looks hot, but also he's not posing in a naturally menacing way, right? There's something as if he is posed as if he is painting his own nails.
This is what I mean.
And he's like slouched over.
And I think it starts with Hamon,
Yeah.
right? Is that I think this is a man who understands that a lot of acting
Mhm.
is the neck down.
He's got a tremendous amount of body. He cuts just a big figure, right? And he's really smart about knowing how to subvert what you expect him to do or how you expect him to play a scene
Yeah.
without just feeling like he's being flippant.
Yeah.
You know? Or
Yeah.
like contrarian or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, somehow the fact that he's not playing that scene tough makes it tougher. Somehow the fact that he's like
I agree.
slouching over in a way where there actually are tummy rolls rather than later when he stands up in the towel and you see him looking pretty cut
Mhm.
makes him look more sexual,
Yeah.
but also
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it more otherworldly where you're like, it's even weirder to see this haircut on a naked body. You know?
Tommy Lee Jones, obviously, I would say, is the most Route One casting decision in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, we're going to have Tommy Lee Jones play a Texas sheriff who's a little over it.
And yet,
Like-
I think
And
this
yet-
performance was greeted as a, like, welcome back.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing performance.
It's really, yeah.
Astonishing.
And they wanted this character to be tart. Like, they didn't want, like, a sort of good old boy, essentially. And that's what TLJ is so good at.
But also what he's good at
from
is,
like he's from where it's set. They're
Yes.
like, he's the real thing for the region. He just checked every box. And then there's some interview where someone's like, is he scary? And Ethan says he's a big pussy cat. And Joel says, let's just say he doesn't suffer fools gladly, but he is fine. Like,
Yeah.
I also
famously,
think,
he sued Paramount and got like a fucking ton of money from them because they fucked him on some contract thing
For
this
this?
movie. Yes,
this, yeah.
they
Well-
gave him like $15 million.
that kind of
Yeah.
Yes, but that was
Yeah.
not a Coens thing, obviously.
But I think he waived his quote for some back end that then they tried to withhold from
they
him.
messed with him.
I was going to say I think a lot of people they could have cast would then try to play, as you said, like tart, rough,
Right.
haggard, you
Sure.
know? And what's smart is they like hire Tommy Lee Jones, that's his default setting, and then they're sort of saying like, can you make this your most emotional performance ever?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the magic of it.
it's
is,
really
like,
magical.
from
yeah.
the get-go, there's something disarming about starting a movie inside Tommy Lee Jones's head,
Oh,
where
God.
he's basically admitting to the audience, like, I just don't even know anymore.
I mean, if you think about like, him in pop culture, obviously he's acted in a gajillion things since The Fugitive, but like that's his, you look at him, that's what you think,
It's
right?
the
You
defining
think-
role
You think
in
high
many
status.
ways.
Yeah,
Yep.
you think high status, you think, barking orders, you
Mhm.
think, yeah, of course, like, being the good guy at the end, but almost sort of reluctantly, right?
But like
I killed
post-fugitive,
my wife.
yes.
I don't care. Like it isn't even, I don't believe you. Yes, you did. It does not matter to me because I'm the Anton Chigurh of this movie.
that line
right?
reading wins him the Oscar. And
Absolutely.
from that moment on, every time he is cast, they're either leaning into that
Yeah.
or trying to subvert it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it becomes the unavoidable comparison point of this is, as you said, this is what people have in their mind when they think about Tommy Lee Jones.
I think so.
Is
And he's
this
not a
why-
guy who transforms himself, so he's going to be used differently, but you're never going to be like, that was Tommy Lee
I
Jones?
also think I'm just realizing this in this moment that actually it does help the narrative of the movie because there's this understanding that he, in his iconic role, tracks down the bad guy,
Yes.
quote unquote, right?
Right.
Like he is excellent at
Yeah.
that. So
Yes.
you do continue to think, even subconsciously, he's going to catch this guy.
And not only that, you start with his interior monologue, and then he's basically not on screen for like 20 minutes.
Oh, is that true?
And his
Yeah.
screen time increases as the movie goes on, but he's pretty backloaded. So
Yeah.
it's important to be like, here's the big movie star. You know
Yeah.
who this guy is.
Yeah.
You're setting expectations based on him being in a movie with this kind of setup.
Yeah.
We're pinning him at the beginning. You're never going to forget about him.
Yeah.
You're keeping track of him the entire time, even when he
That's
is
a really good point. Yeah.
elusive from the story.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we're going to have to get back to him at the end, and he needs to have been felt the whole
Jesus.
time.
Yeah. He's,
Yeah.
incredible performance.
And of course, right, he doesn't get nominated for this. He gets nominated for In the Valley of Allah, a movie that's completely forgotten.
It is.
This
He's,
same year.
it's not, in
Oh, that's
my
the same
opinion, an amazing movie, but he is unsurprisingly very good in it.
Yep.
And it was kind of a combo nom.
Yeah.
And everyone knew that Bardem was basically walking away with supporting actor, so that I think they
Certainly.
didn't.
Just quickly, who was that? Oh, just a couple
Please.
vibes of who the other guys were?
Okay, so lead that year is Daniel Day-Wins.
He wins.
Yes, right.
Lewis wins. I'm abandoned my boy.
I
George
mean, that
Clooney.
is cunt.
George
That-
Clooney
that-
and Michael Clayton. Did you see that interview he gave about it? That was so fun. It was on one of the talk shows where he says like Clooney says like the thing I get the most praise for from like people
Mhm.
now is
The
the
back
final
account.
scene of
Of
Michael
Michael
Clayton,
Clayton,
Just Drive.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, the reason I agree with them is that entire fucking scene we were shooting. Have you seen this interview?
Yes, it's incredible.
What people on the street were going, hey, George Clooney. They were seeing him in the window and going
Yes.
like, oh, because it was just filming live.
And they were like, we had one take of that. It was like one mag. We weren't
so
going to
he's
get
like,
a
I
second
am
shot.
trying so hard not to laugh the entire scene.
And people are
Yeah.
like, what is he thinking of? Like, the blankness on his face is so profound. And you're like, that guy's just trying to hold his shit together.
hey, Georgie.
There's a story like that about De Niro and Robin Williams
My
in Awakening.
favorite. story?
which I'm not going to say on this podcast.
Okay, I
But
was going
to
to
the
say.
listener, oh, you can do
I
it, but the
feel like I
listeners,
can't say.
yeah, the listeners can look it up. Yeah,
Wait.
Yes.
What is it again? Robert?
Fuck,
it's
I'm gonna
Robin
say
Williams.
it.
It's Robin Williams and De Niro in
De Niro.
Awakenings.
And
And
it's in
It's a similar vibe.
It's a sequence in the movie in which De Niro has not yet awakened.
That's correct.
So he is a
And
man
people-
trapped inside a body.
And we've got bystanders,
He's back of a car.
screaming, "Hey, De Niro!" Like
Right.
this.
And he's just keeping his stillness.
That's
Right.
correct.
This character cannot react.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, because David asked,
Sure.
a guy yells out, "Hey, Bobby, you still like that black pussy?"
Can you imagine, David?
And De Niro's just like,
No, De Niro breaks.
oh, okay. That guy.
Williams was like, it was the only time I ever saw him break.
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah.
had to be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's
You got me there.
it's dark, but it's a fucking it's a
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
We'll say
yeah.
it's a story. We'll say that.
Guys got me picked.
The other nominees for Best Actor that year is a very strong year because Viggo Mortensen in Eastern Promises,
Right.
which is another
Fucking
one where you're like,
hell.
is this like a lizard from Jupiter? Like, this guy who shows up is just like, I cut off hands and feet. And you're
That
just
is
like, I
A
want to.
perfect
I
description.
believe you. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Lizard from
And
Jupiter.
then Depp in Sweeney Todd, which is this sort of divisive performance,
do
but
love
it's
him.
him,
It is him.
trying
Yes,
something.
it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
him.
Okay, and then
And
supporting
it's
is
Totally normal guy. by the way.
Just, it's the most
The
normal.
most-
We're
Basic.
seeing so many normal people. On
Yeah.
this.
and we love talking about Depp on
Supporting
this
actor,
podcast.
we do. We've never done it.
No, it's never cut out.
Bardem, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Charlie Wilson swore he had just won an Oscar, but that's a showy supporting performance.
It's the one scene
Yes.
is just lights out.
Tom Wilkinson and Michael Clayton,
Who's
arguably a worthy winner, incredible performance, obviously.
Casey Affleck, Jesse James.
Yes,
Yeah.
total category fraud. He's a
Yes.
lead, but he's
But an astonishing
supporting to
performance
Pitt, but really, really good
From a normal
performance.
person, another normal person.
Another normal, totally normal.
And Hal Holbrook in Into the Wild, which is a career nom, but a great performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. And I think was seen as it might be his year in a gold watch kind of thanks
Yes,
for a great
yeah,
career.
Of course, yeah.
But Chigurh was just like, it felt
it
like.
doesn't sound like the strongest year to me in terms of competition for him. That was sort of the question behind the question.
I also just think.
Like, was anybody giving him a run for his?
No,
money, yeah.
I feel like he basically had this lock from the moment the film premiered. And I also think, I remember saying to people when this came out, like, this is the most iconic villain that anyone has created since Hannibal Lecter.
I
Like, this
agree
is such a kind
with
of
that.
like perfect, like,
Excellent,
the voice, the look, the behavior, scene
Agreed.
for scene.
excellent.
This is just
yeah.
this character so fucking sticky.
Yeah,
And I said to a friend in film school, like, people are going to be parodying this character for 20 years.
Yeah.
It is to my great relief that I feel like what happened is 1 year later, the Joker comes out.
yes. Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that becomes the villain
Ledger.
that basically everyone is sort of trying to chase for the next
it
20
would be
years.
funny if like dank meme lords started like Anton Chigurhing overall. You know what
I
I
am
mean? Like if he
saying,
became their like
I
guy.
think it is to culture's great gain that somehow Chigurh
That's a really good point.
got
Yeah.
spared the memification that would have kind of flattened him a
Yeah.
little bit.
yes.
Yeah.
Based on the Joker, like 9 months later,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
becoming
Thank God.
the thing. And then also, like most other villains after that, are sort of trying to iterate on what Ledger did.
Yes.
And it still makes Bardem in this feel like this very unique, bizarre, lightning in a bottle thing.
yeah.
Also, with the benefit of not being like, and then Hopkins played Lecter 3 more times, you know?
Well, yes. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly. We suddenly throw that person in the lead, and it's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, because I watch this and I go, like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
Right.
And it still feels fresh to me.
Yeah.
So wait, back to the Kelly MacDonald, amazing in this
Oh,
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
So good.
kind of a swerve casting wise, obviously, to get
It's
the
a little
Scottish
bit like a
actress.
Helena Bonham Carter
Yes.
Fight Club situation where you're like, the girl from Trainspotting?
the most
Right.
Scottish woman alive.
Just dropped in the middle of, this, like,
She's so
she's
good.
excellent. in
And
it.
just like talk about perfect characterization in few words. Their first exchange on the couch of
Hot.
the trailer,
So
right?
hot. Yeah.
Whereas like you keep talking like that, I'm gonna have to take you back and fuck you.
Screw you. Yeah, yeah.
And then
she says, she's like, big talk.
Big
Big
you know?
talk, and then he just sits there and continues to drink beer, and you see it on her
Keep it up.
face of like,
Keep it up.
I wish he would.
I know. I'm like,
You know?
let's go. Cut to that. Not the
Right.
fucking water.
Right.
Kelly MacDonald, much, much better than the character in the novel.
I would agree with that.
If there's any real kind of.
And
yeah.
the character in the novel is much more overwritten.
Yes.
Yeah.
His
Oh, yeah, that's a
mother-in-law
good
is Beth Grant, the iconic.
Oh,
Southerner.
always
Always good at playing a baddie lady.
Absolutely. I'm starting to doubt your commitment to sparkle motion.
Yes.
And that is iconic behavior.
And is the pageant head in Little Miss Sunshine as well having the freak out?
Yes. Yeah.
Is very good at
Yeah.
that.
Stephen Root being Stephen Root.
Is he the actor they have worked with the most? I was sort of trying to do a little count in my head.
Who? Stephen Root?
I'm like
he's up there.
McDormand, Buscemi,
But I mean,
Root.
like, McDormand, right, is obviously up there.
Right.
Root's in so many of them.
He's in... Let's
So
find out.
many.
Yeah.
So many.
Remember him in True Blood?
never
Fantastic
watched-
in True
Isn't
Blood.
he incredible?
Yes. I mean,
What
but
the
he's
hell?
always good.
He
He's
do-
always good, but
does
that was
not
that was a moment where I was like, "Oh, I was unfamiliar with your
Well,
game,
that's the
Mr.
thing.
Root."
He'll do something that's another string to his bow. You're
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, I thought you played this kind of this kind. Is Oh Brother his first Coens though?
Is that possible?
It looks like it is. And then you have Lady Killers.
He's great in that scene.
Mhm.
No Country he is. Scruggs.
Scruggs. Okay.
Yeah. 4? I don't know.
Yeah. 4.
I don't know.
I was
That
right.
was a cursory glance.
Yeah.
McDonald, one thing that's interesting about her, though, is that she sort of, because she's so peppered in the movie, she said she would like shoot for a day and then be off for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then shoot for another day and be off for another couple weeks. And she mostly just like hung out in South Texas, where she's
So the
never
energy of
been.
the character who's just sort of like, I don't totally know what this whole movie is going on here. Right? Something's
Yeah.
happening
I
that
have
I'm not
no reference for,
privy to.
Yeah.
I mean, the other notable performance to call in this movie is like they kind of save Woody Harrelson from the wilderness with this
I
film.
think that's
Yeah, it is.
Starts
It's the
the-
start of hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a nice little Janet Leigh, right? Like
Yep.
it's a little like, oh, here comes he's dead,
And
like
10 years earlier, you're like, he would have played Llewellyn.
that's true.
And he definitely felt a little dinged at this moment. I remember even seeing him in the trailer and going like, Woody Harrelson, that's interesting.
yeah.
They think he has that just from the like major peck and paw energy. And they're like,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
gives us
Yeah.
like, you know, the sort
Yeah.
of whatever, like that thing.
It's just like a perfect 3-scene arc. Like there's an entire mini
Yeah.
movie in
bubonic
his
Yeah.
performance.
plague.
Bubonic.
Bubonic plague.
Yeah.
you know.
Film
What? And he
film-
says, compared
What
to
to
what?
what?
The
Yeah.
bubonic plague.
film cost about $30 million.
Mhm.
Much of the film was shot in New Mexico, but also Texas,
Right.
as we mentioned, Marfa, Texas, and Marfa famously kind of an arty town. They got a lot of, you know, boutique-y little galleries and stuff.
They got
but, you know,
the Prada store, right?
Of course.
Oh my
Still
God,
have
that
to
right.
visit.
I forgot about that photo. Oh my God.
Dark.
and right, and of course There Will Be Blood is shooting at the same time.
Yes.
And there is a time they're shooting Brolin in like remote West Texas, and across the like horizon is Paul shooting like oil on fire or
Just
whatever.
insane. Right.
It's very cool.
Insane.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, we've talked about a bunch of the scenes out of order, but you're really just dropped into the middle of it. Tommy Lee Jones's head, and then the cop trying to call in about Chigurh immediately kills him, and then
Yeah.
you're out in the road and you're seeing the first use of the cattle gun. Is that the right term?
Yeah, it's a cattle prod or a bolt
Yes.
pistol or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, just such an incredible choice.
yeah,
you-
it's right out of the book.
Going
Yeah.
back to the power of objects, right? This
Oh, yes.
idea that he takes
Yeah.
this thing that is obviously
Yeah.
menacing
Yeah.
and dark. It is a
Yeah.
thing we use to like
Yeah. It's
exert
almost like
power
it's like a
over-
supervillain weapon, right?
Right.
You're like, what the fuck is that?
But yet in farming, it's used in a like, well, this is just the nature of my job.
And it's also, there's sort of a quotidian thing to it, and also, people are cattle.
Right. Right.
They're,
exactly.
They're animals. They're
There
not.
is an innate dehumanizing in the fact that he is using this to kill people, even
That's
though
right.
that is what is meant to do, to take lives.
Yeah.
And just the eeriness of him telling the guy to stand still.
A thing to
It's so
note
creepy.
about this movie is that
Yes.
it sounds really good. Now, all Coen
Skip
Brothers
Leave Say the
movies
Go.
sounds good. But
Yeah.
Skip Leave Say, of course, their sound editor, really takes some pride in this one. They did a lot of on-set sound.
Wow.
Rather than sweetening stuff in post.
Mhm.
Leslye, sorry, this is a complete tangent. But
Well-
you did make the Acolyte.
Please help me.
When you're doing lightsabers, and the Acolyte has a lot of lightsabers.
A lot of them, yeah.
You know, I just watched Andor, no fucking lightsabers,
That's
which is
correct.
fine. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't need any lightsabers.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
No, it's not. Yeah.
what do they have now? Do they have like a full
Great
lightsaber,
question.
or is it like still like a glowy stick where like a lot of the work's getting done? You know, like how
It's
much?
it's
How
the,
complicated is it?
it's the so for our show we were doing an immense amount of fighting and specifically wuxia
Yes,
influences and so the action choreographer Chris Cowen and I were creating sequences where the lightsabers were used very quickly and swiftly the way they are in the prequels, right? The prequels obviously utilize an enormous amount of VFX to create the lightsabers.
Those suckers,
Yeah. You guys, are you familiar with the?
Never seen them.
Have you? Yeah, 1999. Never.
Yes,
Ewan McGregor,
We've
the
touched
guy
that.
from Train Spotting. Oh, so for our show, it was very different. I won't get too in the weeds about it, but when I went to I said, okay, I want specific lightsabers that can do that.
Okay.
That can be light and fought with that quickly.
Right.
And I also
Yeah.
want a lightsaber that has a shoto that you can unlock and pull out.
Am I incorrect?
They lost their minds. They were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We cannot create lightsabers that are that light, that are that lightweight.
Interesting.
My
We cannot do
understanding-
that. We cannot do the lights. And I also said I want the lights within. I want
You
it
wanted
to
the
be
actual
practical,
mechanics. Yeah.
Right.
so that you can actually see the light on the actors' faces.
Yes.
The shoto was a big deal because they were like, it doesn't make sense for the handle to be that long. So these are guys, by the way, these are
Yeah.
guys that I respect. They are doing their job.
Sure. Yes.
But I did have to essentially change the way that they had been thinking about lightsabers for the Disney reboot / television.
Am I
adventure.
incorrect in thinking that in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
they were basically using a lot of reflective tape
Right.
to be
That's
able to
correct.
light them and
Yeah.
get the glow, and then extensive post work to do the coloring
Mhm.
and to actually give it the sort of power it needed. But that way, there was a kind of light source and reflective off of it.
Yeah.
And in the prequel era, it was more just sticks that were emanating no light, and the light was entirely a post effect.
And therefore, you could have faster
right.
battles.
Famously,
yeah.
Ewan broke a lot of the sticks.
Yes. And you wanted there to actually be interplay in camera between
And-
the actors and the weapons and the light.
And
Yeah.
the sticks had to hit each other
Right.
over and over again.
Right.
So these were not like
that is interesting.
So everything. So here we go.
Yeah.
All the lightsabers are much, much heavier
Mhm.
than they can be
Yeah.
for the actors. The first round is actors going and action choreographers going,
Mhm.
these are too heavy. We
Right.
cannot. The poor actors are like, I can't
My
lift
arms
this.
hurt.
Like,
Right.
let alone, except for Manny Jacinto, who was like, I
got those arms.
don't know what the fuck
Got
was
those
going on in
fucking
terms of
arms.
how deeply he was able to adjust and create that character and do that much stuff. But so sorry, long story short, we had to essentially create lightsabers that aren't usually lightsabers.
I just,
David, ask your
you
question,
can't
sorry.
say this. You can't agree with me, and that's fine. You can't say anything on this. But
Yeah.
like a lot of the post-Disney Star Wars stuff has not had good lightsaber fighting.
Agreed.
Okay, she can't agree with me.
No, I agree. And part of it is because the lightsabers are so heavy.
This makes sense.
Yes.
Truthfully,
Because
that's
all
what it
of
is.
the sequel films, the lightsaber fights are very kind of old-fashioned medieval, like
That's right.
swinging these heavy fucking
They are
swords.
That's exactly it.
Right.
They're medieval. They're not ninja or samurai.
Right. And the
Well, also,
characters
yes.
are removed from the,
The
High
helmet is set-
Republic shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
The Darth
original
Vader
trilogy-
is samurai, but
Yes.
it's not. Yeah.
In original trilogy, they barely move, right? Then the
it's
prequel
a
trilogy,
lot of big swings.
everyone moves way
And
too much.
but
and then
it
you got
rocks,
this,
but it's
then
a
it's this
lot.
tough thing of like what exists between those two poles,
Right.
between Alec Guinness standing planted and just swinging one time,
Yes.
and
God
Ewan
bless the guy
McGregor
who
being
was
able to do
tired.
like backflips and
Yeah.
like
And so
basically becoming devil sticks.
And I want to say, like, these guys, I'm not talking, shit about how they do their job. It's
Mhm.
and create their lightsabers. It's just they're like, this is how they're just incredible. They're just like, this is how lightsabers work.
Yeah.
You know, like, and they were very, very accommodating
Yes.
and willing to go with what my vision was. And so I will always be grateful to them for that, because I think it really overstepped what their understanding
Mhm.
was.
I just think The Acolyte was the first post-Disney Star Wars thing I saw that had good lightsaber
I would
fighting.
agree
agree.
with
I'll
that.
just
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of this post-Disney Star Wars stuff has not emphasized that at
No,
all, and that's
no.
fine. But other stuff, the lightsaber fighting has really bummed me out.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to fucking choreograph.
Well, you got to like do all those types of
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
You know, the actors have to, you know, I was like, we were talking before, I was not willing to do any face replacement. You know, so a
Yeah.
lot of these people learned a lot of these actors learned, you know, not the wire work, obviously, and the, you know, but
Yes.
they did a lot.
But it's a tremendous amount of work to figure out how to solve problems that you're creating. Right?
That's filmmaking.
Yeah.
That's our job. Like,
Right.
that's exactly, oh my
Right.
God, I've
if
never
you, if
heard.
you want to do it right, if you're like, it needs to be this.
Yeah.
And if I'm planting my feet down and saying it's got to be this, then people are circling back and going, here's all the reasons that's impossible.
That is exactly what my job is. My job is solving problems
How do you
I
work through
created.
this?
Yeah.
So here's my question off of this. I think a good on-ramp back into The Sound of No Country, which I have a point to make about.
Oh, yeah.
How weird is it to be sitting on set, watching extended lightsaber fights, and just hearing like obviously so much of it is the sound of
Is the sound
lightsabers, which
effect,
are
yeah.
done in post. And when you're there watching it and you're like, that looks great, does it always fundamentally feel a little silly
No,
when they're
you know-
just going like,
Well, because listen, I appreciate the compliment. And David and I'm so glad that you had that experience with it, because
Yes.
that was my intention. And
I also
and
think it was one of the only things that really engaged with the prequels in a
agree.
meaningful
that's
way.
what I
really
was,
liked.
again, you know, thank you.
Big fan of The Acolyte over here.
Thank you.
And by
Thank you
prequels,
very
we
much.
mean the
I
original
a
Phantom
lot
Menace
of work went
trilogy.
into that,
That's right.
David. A lot of like Legends work went into that.
but that's weird. I
So
thought
it was kind of
you'd never seen a Star Wars
It was,
movie.
well, of course I have. I haven't. I just, you know, a lot of the disappointment that I felt was that, you know, that there wasn't enough acknowledgement of that, David.
Mhm.
If I'm being honest,
Sure.
you know, I just kind of thought, you know, I put a lot of work into this
Right.
and into canon and involving like video games, which, by the way, are canon, and
weird world.
you know, creating.
No, it's a weird world.
It's
that
a
you have to
weird
contend
world,
with,
right? And the
where it's like,
cartoons,
those
and
books
the
aren't
video game.
allowed, but maybe we can bring some back.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Those
allowed
video
to bring
games
some back.
weirdly are all canon.
Yeah.
Right.
And so there were a lot of like legend stuff that I dropped in, and
Right.
you know, like the tracker character is an alien from that. Like,
Right.
anyway, point being, and we were engaging in those prequel kind of, you know, all of that. So
Right.
I was a little disappointed that the show didn't get like a larger sort of, you know, what's the word? Like pat on the back for that.
I
I
will just-
don't think
yes.
people need to like fawn over it. But it just anyway, point being, because you asked me about I think that's how this started.
the dull
Is
sound.
that you were asking
Yes.
about that?
Right.
I think because the choreography that Chris Cowan created, and then the stunt team, and then first team
Mhm.
was so astonishing that I very rarely
You were
was kind
so
of thinking
impressed.
about it. I was
Yeah.
just so impressed. Like, I was just like, Jesus, this looks like The Matrix. This
Right.
looks like Wuxia. This looks like Crouching Tiger. Like, this is so it was very goofy,
But
for
then
sure.
when you put the sound on top of it, it becomes magical.
Exactly. Yeah.
On
But I
top of
think
something that already was impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the thing that I think is so impressive about the sound in No Country is that it's exactly what you're saying, David. There is not this reliance in post-production
Right.
to create the sound of New Mexico.
Yes.
You know, they are doing it right there. I'm assuming, right? Like
Yep.
the Foley is all.
I want to
Yep,
say one
yep,
final thing
yep.
about Star Wars.
Go ahead.
Fine.
That there is always this response to any modern Star Wars thing of, that's not what we want. If they could just do this, we'd all be happy.
Yes.
And of course,
yeah.
anytime that
Yeah.
happens, there is a contingent of people who are very loud, who are equally angry,
Yes.
and go, not that, this.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have contended with friends of mine who are Star Wars fans who will say things like that, like, I genuinely think
yes.
it is somewhat unsolvable, right? Not
Yeah,
that
I
you
would
can't
agree.
make great Star
Yeah.
Wars
No,
stuff,
I would
But
agree
you're
with
not-
that.
it's hard to make
cultural
something for
relationship to
everybody.
Star
Yeah.
Wars is so intense in that
Yeah.
way,
And
right?
I think that's why it's hard for them to reach out in terms of an audience, because so many people who are not Star Wars fans, I would say to them, like, well, okay, before I started writing, it's like, okay, well, why are you not a Star Wars fan?
Yes.
And they would say, well, I just don't know enough about the stuff.
Yep.
And I was kind of like, God, that is so the opposite of 1977.
Yes,
Like,
and there is this weird battle between, is the goal here to make something for everyone? Is the goal here to make something for people who don't think they like Star Wars? Is the goal to make something for specific subsections of fandom?
Yeah.
And all of it gets this weird, intense response.
Yeah.
There has not been any ability to allow Star Wars to become a thing that can be prismatic
Yeah, I would
and
agree
not
with
have
that,
to represent all of it at once, because the magic of those original movies is like, holy shit, it's everything all at the same time.
That's exactly right.
Which is impossible to replicate because it didn't exist before then.
Yes,
It was lightning in a bottle shit,
Yeah.
right? And all
Yeah.
of this exists in the wake of it. The clearest distillation of this I have ever seen, and then we'll get back onto No Country for Old Men,
sure.
is the thing where they discovered the fucking 70 millimeter print of the original theatrical release of Star Wars. And they were like, we didn't think this existed. And they screened it in London at the BFI. And Kathleen Kennedy showed up and she was like, we've been searching for this. We're so happy. And they screened it. And like 5 different journalists wrote reviews where they were like, it looked like shit. And these are the exact
was
people
so
who for
funny.
50 years have been like, why won't they give us a theatrical cut? Get rid of the special editions. If they just gave us theatrical, we'd be
Dude,
happy.
I'll
And they were all like,
confess it.
this fucking sucks. This
Yeah.
is like dog shit.
There are certain things, because you'll watch those despecialized editions of where you're like, oh, fuck that. Oh, the X-Wings look like that. I kind of got used to them looking like this.
Yeah.
There's certain things where you're like, I don't need there to
Of
be a
course.
Looney Tune playing out in the background with a fucking
There is
cartoon,
stuff George
elephant.
undeniably improved.
Right. But then there's
Yes,
just
that's
some
true.
of the
That's
sort of like
true.
little bits of cleanup. You're like, oh, yeah, that
But
kinda
now that
rocks.
dialogue has shifted to like, what we want is someone cutting some of George's
I'll
things.
say it. I'll say
my
it.
God.
I'll say it. I always say it. This is just what they want is to be 12 again.
That's
I
what
get it.
everyone
So do I.
wants.
Yeah. So same.
Here's what I'll say about The Sound of No Country. The other big part of this and
Although
why
my
I
allowance
think,
was like £2 a week or whatever. I mean, when I was 12,
Yeah.
I don't think I was getting up to much.
it took 5 years to buy a CD-ROM. I remember doing that math, like getting a catalog and being like, how much do CD-ROMs cost?
5 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's true.
I get a fucking
That's
Anton Chigurh
absolutely
pocket
true.
full of change every week.
I was
Yeah.
getting like £2.
Yeah.
I'd say to my dad, I'd be like, isn't my allowance like 45 cents? And he'd be like, I don't know. It's what I have on here.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
day you remember to ask. This movie has no score until the end credits.
Yes.
That's the other part of it.
It
The
is one of
sound
Burwell's
stands
least.
out even more because
Yeah.
the sound, the noises, and especially in a movie that has less dialogue than their films usually have,
Yeah.
the sounds are the soundtrack.
But
And-
they must be augmented in some way.
Oh,
right. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like they're not.
No, for sure.
So it's orchestrated, but that's true.
I think
There's no
the
music.
Skip Leave Say magic is that he knows how to just overcrank everything just a little bit
Yes.
to make it feel hyper real.
Yes. Yeah.
And in the vacuum of stoic characters, lack of Carter Burwell's score, that becomes even more evocative.
right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But it is a movie where you're just like, everyone walks differently. You hear and feel the differences in everyone's footsteps.
yeah.
And every surface they're standing on. It's just like incredible shit. And it's part of what makes this movie like eerie in such a sustained way for me.
Yeah.
Is, I think they showed it to Carter Burwell and he's like, this doesn't need music.
right.
They were not
really?
intending it to not have a score. And he was like, I think
Oh.
the best thing I can do here is not do anything.
Right.
I'll write something for the end credits
Wow.
if you want, but like,
Yeah. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
there's a sustained tension from being like, why isn't this being cut by anything else?
No Country for Old Men. What do we want to say about it that we haven't been saying already? We've gone for 2 hours.
You talking
Uh,
about the ethnic ambiguity of Chigurh as a character, right?
Right.
There's
yeah.
something in hiring a Spaniard
Yeah.
in a Western set in Texas and then basically giving him like Tim Burton makeup. On top
Right.
of how weird his styling is in the hair and the outfit and everything.
Yeah.
And just being like, man, this guy's wearing a lot of dark colors for like brutal sun.
It's very true.
I'm like
very
looking at
true.
an image on my iPad right here, and you're like, they like pancake him with paleness.
Right.
on top of his natural skin tone, and then this like deep redness around his eyes and his lips.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That also makes it feel like, is this guy a ghost? Like, how is he not getting sunburned?
That's true. Yeah. There is this like otherworldly thing to him, which we've already talked about. But I think like in terms of the thrust of the narrative, which I think we're, going to chat about now is like, hopefully. No, but meaning like, I think, there has been this online debatey idea that Chigurh is, Satan is the personification, is Joe Black. I mean, it's like the personification of death.
Sure.
Jeff,
the personification,
or Jeff. It could be Jeff.
You guys, please make that the title of this personification of Jeff.
Yes. I go back and forth every time I watch this, and whether I think he is, if not supernatural, at least explicitly kind of allegorical. Or
I would
if
agree
he's
with that.
actually meant to be processed as a real human being.
I think the ending says human being,
Yes.
and I agree with you that it's allegorical.
Yes, it's somehow holding both simultaneously.
Like, Chigurh, here's my thing. The movie begins with him getting arrested and strangling the deputy.
Mhm.
The deputy, like, sits him down. And, like, so, right, the big thing in this movie is it's like, this country, it's just not for old men anymore, if that makes sense.
That's kind of the
And
big take.
it's Tommy Lee Jones basically just brushing against evil or whatever, but also just brushing against a world where he's just like, I don't know where to begin with this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. This isn't like crime like that sheriffs deal with, where it's like, hey, why'd you do that to that guy? Well, he stole my. All right, well, you can't do that.
He
Yeah.
even shares that his grandfather and his father were both sheriffs, and they used to not even wear a gun.
Right.
Right.
Like that. It's like you. And like everything about Tommy Lee Jones's character, it's like he knows everybody.
This
right?
can
like,
be reasoned.
He knows everybody. He knows
Yeah.
everyone's name.
Yes.
Like, when he's at the diner, he knows the name of the waitress. When he sees Llewellyn's car, he's like, I know this car.
It's
This
about
is
people.
Llewellyn's car. I'm like,
Right.
bitch, he must be in charge of like 1,000 acres of land. Like, it's like deep South Texas.
Sure.
Like, but nonetheless, like, he's whatever, he's like basically trying to sort of like keep an eye on the community.
I mean,
right?
he has the exchange with Garrett Dillahunt. I think it's when they go to the first crime scene, and he goes, "So it seems like they died of natural causes." And Garrett Dillahunt says, "Like there are like 40 gunshots here," and he
Yeah.
goes, "Well, natural in relation to the line of work they were in, right?"
Yeah.
Right.
The idea that this guy is like not numb, but it's like he's seen it all.
But the great line that I think is in the trailer where like Dillahunt's like, do you think he's got any notion of the sort of people who are chasing him? He's like, he ought to. He's seen the same things I have.
Right.
And it's
It's left
certainly made
an
an
impression on me.
But this guy is increasingly going like, this is not something I understand. There is something happening here that
Yeah.
feels like emblematic of a cultural.
Yeah, I
wind
do think we need
change.
to keep moving forward, obviously, but in the book, it's explained later on that he's a veteran.
Right.
Yes,
So in
right.
a way, saying like this level of violence, I can't understand. I'm a little bit like, but you can, like
he
but it's-
can, but it's also something he's so haunted by.
Yes.
Right.
and the
like-
desertion and all
right.
of that.
And
yeah.
he's just like, and right in the book, there's this specific memory he has of this terrible thing that happened during the war. And like, but in this, it's just like, what happened? But we don't even know, but like a drug deal was going to happen
Mm-hmm.
and something went wrong. We don't know what, right?
There's a shootout that Llewellyn
And they
stumbles
all
upon just
murdered
because
each
he's
other,
hunting.
leaving
Yeah.
behind an incredible amount of drugs.
Yes.
And a
An
bag
array
of, money.
of guns.
Yes.
Quite a lot of guns.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that like nobody cares that this happened.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
Everyone is basically some version of a cost of doing business thing.
Right.
You know,
Natural causes.
right.
Yeah.
And Llewellyn is foolish enough to try to skim the money.
Yes.
But like, it's like, you don't feel like Sheriff Bell is like, I'll solve this.
Yeah.
Right. Like he almost immediately, he's basically just like, I know Llewellyn's going to die. I'm going to try and find him.
I
Yeah.
think Brolin's first line of dialogue in the movie is he's, slowly surveying the situation.
Like,
He
he
finds the
finds
dying
the
guy. He
agua.
finds the bag. He's sitting down at the tree next to this dying guy. No, that guy's fully dead, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And he opens the bag. He sees the money. He lifts his head up and then he goes, yeah. And it's such a good piece of writing that this guy's like, of course it's a bag of money.
Brolin claims that he improvised that.
That rocks.
That makes sense.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
And then similarly, when he wakes up in the middle of the night and it's like,
Yeah.
to go get the water. This guy's kind of silently in this monosyllabic conversation with himself.
Yes.
About like, of course, I gotta do this, or of course, this is what would happen.
Yeah.
I think, as you're saying, this is the kind of thing that Tommy Lee Jones has seen before. What's activating him isn't, I've never seen this level of violence before. It's, this doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
I think that there's this clash internally between Chigurh is killing so many people he doesn't need to kill, right?
Yes.
And it's like Tommy Lee Jones is trying to solve this as a guy trying to clean up loose ends of a crime gone wrong.
Right.
And yet Chigurh is also kind of behaving like a serial killer.
Yes, he is.
And it's like, if a guy is a professional, why would he be this sloppy?
Yeah.
I think that's sort of what is unspoken of, like, it doesn't make sense, the level, nature of the violence that is unnecessary.
Right. And like the Woody Harrelson character who shows up later feels like a more old school, whatever you want to call it, contract killer, fixer,
Jeremy will get it
whatever.
done.
Right. Where he tries to solve the problem by being like, can we just fucking figure this out?
Right.
Like,
Can we be gentlemen
give me
about
the money,
murder?
Like, let's
Whereas
get over it. Yeah.
Chigurh seems to have some weird, code in his brain.
Yes.
Because like, why does he kill Kelly MacDonald?
He doesn't
Well,
have to.
he just said that he was going to. He
Right.
claims that he told Llewellyn that he was going to.
Right. But it's like obviously the money is not a problem anymore.
No.
She doesn't fucking know anything.
Yeah.
No, and so
And
many
like
of the
he has to
people-
go out of his way to do it.
So many of the people he cattle guns, he doesn't need to kill them in order to get what he needs out of
And
them,
then there
or
are
to get
other
past them.
people-
They're not stopping him.
But then there are other people that he lets live.
Yes.
And one time he flips a coin, but other times he just clearly has this moment of like, yeah, I mean, whatever.
There's this woman in the hotel where he tries to get information. She's like
Yes,
this
the
great, like
Love her.
great
Perfect Coen
character.
face.
She's
Yes.
like perfect.
She looks like she's like painted into the floor. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
she's just this like she just sort of swivels around. Like she's like a costume character at a theme park.
I was going to say
Yeah.
she's an
Yeah.
animatronic robot
Hello?
that can't stand up.
Yeah.
But she's almost
I'm
like,
not giving out information.
she's almost like intimidating like him in this weird way.
Yes.
And he almost respects her. It
Yes,
feels
I
like.
think he fully respects her. He's like, of course I could kill this woman, but that actually might be a problem.
Did you not hear what I said? I think too that she's, it's when I don't know, you guys, I don't know physics. I didn't know we were gonna have to, but
I
it's
don't
like,
know physics.
force meets a movable object.
Yes.
So in a way, like scientifically, he can't continue. I mean, Gene
Right,
sort of
right,
folds
right.
right away, right?
Yes,
He's just
yes.
like, ugh, and
Right.
she's like, get the fuck out of here.
Which like disarms him that Gene doesn't have more pride. or
That's true.
defensiveness.
Yeah, that's true.
Chigurh, we don't even know who hires him, but we assume it's one of the cartels.
Sure.
And I assume the other cartel or someone else is the people who've hired the various Mexican gangsters that eventually do kill Llewellyn.
Sure.
Like, I don't think they're in league. Maybe they are. I have no idea. Chigurh gets the money.
Well, there's also the Stephen Root Harrelson contingent.
Right.
Right.
I don't know who they
I have no clue.
They
Yeah.
someone mentions like, did you hire a bunch of Mexican gangsters? And like
Yes.
they're like, yeah. So like I guess it's like they're and Chigurh is like, I am the instrument for this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he has,
Yes, he
and
says
he
that,
does
yeah.
get the money,
Yeah.
which I guess is the goal,
Uh-huh.
right? That's the fundamental thing that's
Sure.
wanted of him.
Yes.
He's the only person who figures out that it's in the duct, right?
Mhm.
This all happens off screen
Off-screen.
essentially, but that is
Yeah.
what happens.
Which
Oh,
another fucking
most of
great
the murder
shot
is
of him
not necessary,
seeing
yes.
the trails in the dust in the vent
I
of
love
the
that
fingers.
part.
And
Yes, I
knowing,
love that.
clocking for later, that's where he hides it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like the tent poles and stuff, it's just exactly what you said. It's like you learn about the characters by what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Okay,
And,
he's
like,
an idiot for going back with the water,
Mhm.
but God, that vent thing was smart.
He
And you established
has
earlier-
practical,
Right.
like, because he's like a welder, which they don't really establish in
Yes.
this, but like that
Oh,
is
yes, yeah.
You established earlier that Chigurh is going to use the coins for the screws on the vent so that
Yeah.
later you can just cut to a shot of coins on a desk table
Yeah.
and know what it means. Like, that's
Right.
the shit in this movie that when I was 18, I was like, holy fucking shit, filmmaking! Where you can, like, build up a language where then, like, 40 minutes later, you cut to an insert shot of an inanimate object
Yes.
and go, like, I understood exactly what just
Exactly
happened in
what's
the last
happening,
20
yeah.
minutes without
Oh,
a line of
God.
dialogue.
Oh God.
So right, like Llewellyn, he's kind of stupid for going back with the He's stupid to take the money too, I would say.
Well,
He doesn't really.
opportunity knocks.
I know, but he takes the bag and he doesn't think that hard about it. He probably should search the bag or get the money out of the bag and put it in something else.
Or dump it out, make it
It's
rain.
like there's like
Scrooge
20 dead
McDuck.
people.
Yeah.
There's not like 2 dead people.
No, there's a lot.
There's so many vehicles.
There's
like,
a lot.
And so he like clearly is kind of overwhelmed by it, which I would be too. And he's like, I'm just gonna go home and maybe like, fuck my wife.
But also not fuck my wife. Make
Yeah.
a joke about fucking my wife.
I think he fucks her.
I think he definitely
Hand
fucks
stuff?
her.
Interesting. I also think.
I mean, her face, I think, says it all. She's like, got that little smile.
Yep.
But I view that as her being disappointed that he's not going to follow through on what he's saying.
I think he's gonna.
I
follow
think he
through.
fucks him.
I'd follow.
We're moving on.
I think
No,
unlike a
let's keep
lot
going.
of Coen idiots who get in over their head and refuse to acknowledge it, right? He's
Oh,
constantly feeling the
yeah.
pressure of,
Right.
am I in too deep, right?
Yeah.
Versus these guys who are just like, I'm going to get this, right? I'm going to make this all work. And it also is, the guy lives in a trailer, but he is not set up with a pressure like, say, fucking William H. Macy and Fargo, where it's like, this guy needs the money now. Where
he's
it's
right. He could
built
still
into
live
his
like this.
backstory. Right.
Yeah.
It's this sense of opportunity, but it's not a like, I can't turn this down.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least that is not explicitly said to us, which
I had
also
not think-
makes it this game for him of like, is this worth the squeeze?
I actually didn't realize like how similar he is to other until you just said that.
They, I
Like
mean,
even
they love
Lebowski, it's
this.
like I'm getting pulled into a thing I don't know.
Yep.
I just wanted my rug back. Yeah,
right.
that's really
and
interesting.
I think they love when it's a confident moron, which he isn't quite. He's like not the smartest guy, but he's smarter than a lot of their protagonists. And he also is more scared than a lot of their protagonists, right? Even though he is a fairly stoic man, you're
Yeah.
feeling the tension of him in his situation, not knowing if he's going to be able to pull this off.
when they
He
sick,
doesn't pull it off, by the way.
He pulls the
dies.
screws tightening.
yeah. By the way, just spoiler.
He does die.
When they sick the dog on him and he's swimming through the thing and then he shoots him. That was the kind of what you were saying about the tracks being.
Yeah.
That was the moment for me
Yes.
where I was like masterful. Like as the sun's coming up, all of that is timed so that by the time he shoots the dog, it's
Yes. Yeah. It's just like exquisite.
Unload the final
Beautiful.
bullet. Get
Blow.
fucking load it back. Like, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
beautiful.
You saying that TLJ's character is coded as a veteran. It's also interesting that Brolin is as well, but in
Yeah.
like wildly different wars. That
Yeah.
would've-
Brolin served in Nam. TLJ served in World War II.
Right. So they both have a certain mentality and instincts and resources
Right.
that come out of that experience, but in like wildly different situations that would have formed their
Right.
worldview
Tommy Lee
very
Jones is
differently.
also part of a quote unquote righteous war.
Exactly.
That, like fought
That
against
is
evil.
true.
And
Yeah.
Brolin,
And Josh
it was
Brolin's like, I was sent to a terrible place where I suffered. Which
To
is,
what
you know,
end?
the experience.
Right,
And now
that
I'm in
I
a
had.
trailer.
Why?
You
Right,
know?
yes.
Right.
And I came back and everyone thought that sucked. I mean, there's
Right.
the moment obviously where he has the bond with the other non-veteran who like lets him go through because
Oh,
he's
great
like,
scene.
yes, yeah,
Who
great
doesn't
fucking
want to let him
scene.
through because he's worried he's a Mexican.
Right.
And then he's
like,
basically
"Oh, you're a
able to
veteran."
flash the nom thing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wish
Yeah.
I could do that.
In the book, he says,
Just in a cool movie way.
in the book,
Sure.
he says, you can't go to war like that about Vietnam. You can't go to war without God. I don't
Right.
know what is going to happen when the next one comes. I surely don't.
It's a guy who just quietly is sort of like, world doesn't really make sense and I kind of got a shitty hand without being self-pitying.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he sees a bag of money and it's like, not don't I deserve this,
No, yeah.
but like, is there any reason for me not to try it?
Right. And
Even knowing the inherent
that's
risk.
the Ben feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give it a whirl.
Give
Roll
it a
the
Why
dice.
not?
But I would, of course, then
You only
say to
live
Anton
once.
Chigurh-
Mhm.
Well, that's
And then he end up dead.
yeah, he does die.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Here's the money back.
That's what you would say.
I'm so
Yes,
sorry. Here's the money
I'm
back.
really,
yeah.
really sorry. I wanted the money because there's so much money and it's all in just one little bag.
Yeah.
And
And it's
I
$100 bills.
I so wanted it so
Yes,
desperately,
so
so I could use
desperately.
it to buy things and such.
Perhaps you understand. I like goods and
Right.
services.
As Anton Chigurh is like, let me just unscrew
That's
my
it, but
little
that's what's scary about-
my oxygen tank.
The way
and I'm like, you see
Chigurh-
the money you can buy food, toys, clothes. I mean, there's so many things.
The way Chigurh is set up from the beginning of the movie, you're like giving him the money back wouldn't solve solve anything.
Yeah, it wouldn't. And you already know that. By
And,
the time
like,
even Carson went.
Here is a man who you could not buy off for any amount, right?
No.
You couldn't say to him, like,
No.
hey, I'll give you the money back plus $10 million.
What he tries, he's
No.
like,
Right.
wouldn't you rather just we split it rather than whatever they're paying you?
Right. And he's like, that's not how I like to live my life.
Yeah, he's like, nah, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
What I like to do is have the biggest silencer you ever saw and put it on a fucking shotgun.
Yeah.
Right. There's
Yeah.
there's the
The
one
silencer with the shotgun is also like a great story because not unlike the
Your
lightsaber story, it's
lightsabers.
like you have to create that.
Right.
You know, there are
amount of
like
effort.
silencers for shotguns, like just fucking hanging out.
yes.
But it rocks. My
Absolutely.
favorite
Sexy
kill
as hell.
in the movie is shooting the guy behind the shower curtain. I just like shooting someone where it's such a fucking big gun that like it's like poof, you know, like the shower curtain goes like woof.
Yeah.
But also the
yeah.
cattle gun's kind of ingenious because the
Yes.
first couple scenes they survey, they're just like, what do you mean there's no bullet? Right?
Right.
There's this bizarreness that they start to figure out through like the damage created in other spaces of like, oh, it is kind of a perfect weapon.
He also never uses it on screen. after
He
that.
used it once. The guy at the start.
the very beginning.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean.
but
Like,
after
but
that,
yeah,
yeah.
besides that guy.
Yeah.
The only issue with it is
But
that
it's
you have
hanging
to,
over the movie the
It
whole
is.
time.
And he's
Because
carrying it
it's
most
so
you gotta
stifling.
carry
as
around
like
this
it's a fucking oxygen
thing.
tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's a bit extra. Not to drag him. I mean, like, for example, when he needs to get some bandages,
Mhm.
he explodes an entire car to distract people.
Sure.
Like, I don't.
he's stealing from the pharmacy.
Oh, I understand. I just feel like there's other ways to approach that of like maybe I'll steal some money or maybe
Yeah.
I'll like, you know what I mean? And he's like, blow up this car.
But isn't that what's kind of breaking Tommy Lee Jones is like,
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
understand when this guy is
I
using a
can't-
scalpel and
these
when
aren't
he's using a
tactics.
machete because he does both. Sometimes it feels so strategic and thoughtful, and sometimes it is so fucking messy. He is perhaps just a messy bitch who lives through the drama.
He's
He might-
actually,
yeah, he
that's
might
what
actually
he is.
be.
And he is having a brat summer,
He
of
is
course.
having a brat summer.
Can we
What?
talk about the milk?
Yeah.
Another
he
funny
goes to Llewellyn's trailer. He blows the bloody bolt off, you know, thunk, walks around, nothing in there, sits down, jug of milk.
It's
In
another
case you weren't sure he was a psycho.
another great
Yes.
Deacon shot.
Yes.
He sits there with the jug of milk. He's sitting motionless. He hasn't even taken a sip yet. And then it cuts to the reverse shot, which is his reflection in the
Yes.
television.
And then we see it again with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is this interesting moment where like Sheriff Bell is clearly like he looked at himself in this mirror. Like, you
Right.
know, he's putting himself in the shoes of the guy.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, I wonder, you know, like it's
Because
just
in that Chigurh moment, you're like, what is he doing? Why is he
Right.
just sitting here with a jug of milk, not watching TV?
I think his brain's just
looking
going
at himself. You know?
Yeah. I think he's just rebooting.
Yeah, it does
Like,
feel
what's
like
the
it.
next target?
Yes.
But like I think they just wisely avoid the Terminator thing.
Yes.
There's moments like him blowing up the car with, you know, walking with the explosion behind him. Where you're like, right, he's like a robot. But not always.
And, they
he's
throw
not
that off the hump with the
indestructible.
limp. They throw it off the hump with his look. They're always finding ways to stop him from feeling, yes, completely T-800.
Yeah.
And he's not invulnerable, as you said. Yeah.
Here's my take. You just give me a crack at the Terminator franchise. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Terminator 2 as my jumping off point. We'll make a sequel to that one.
I know
and
we were
ignore the
talking
rest of
about
canon.
how it's hard to please Star Wars fans, but Terminator, I think we can, if we
It's
just
figure
lock
it out.
down.
We
It's
can
David
figure it
Cross
out.
in Arrested Development talking about non-monogamy, where he's like, it could work for. I'm just like the sixth time.
Guys, if we just commit to not leaving this room for 45 minutes, I
Yes.
think we can
I think
walk
we
out
can
of
crack
here
it, yeah.
with it's 45 and we're done.
And we're done.
Here's
we're
my
out.
take. Arnie's in it. We'll figure out how.
Okay, that sounds
Playing
good.
a Terminator.
Here's a bag of money.
And there'll be a new Terminator. And what will his vibe be? I don't know. He's bugs or
We'll
something.
figure that out later. His vibe is something other than Arnold.
Has anyone done liquid? Oh, no, yeah, somebody did that one. What if he's a gas Terminator? No one's done gas.
Yeah. Who's playing John Connor? Someone.
Who's an okay actor who nobody really cares about? Let's get that guy.
Ryan Phillippe. Ryan
God, I was.
Talk about someone zero people would be excited about.
Yeah.
What did I just watch? Oh, I know what you did last summer.
I-
And was like, God, he
I had
was
never
a
seen it before.
fucking fillet back then. He is
Yeah.
a piece of
He
meat.
was, but also
Meats.
that movie is
Oh, he's an asshole. in
want to
that
meet the
movie.
most repellent
Yes.
being you've ever
But
seen.
then he gets eaten by crabs.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
You have not seen the new one, right?
I have not.
It is funny how they're just like, we're just not even going to invoke him, basically.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't come up.
No, it's like Prinz and
Hewitt.
Love Hewitt are in it.
Right.
And Geller is like very much part
have you seen it?
of... I have.
Is Prinz still a fisherman? My favorite thing about those two movies is that Freddie Prinze Jr. plays
Yes.
a working fisherman in those movies.
Okay, mild
He's
spoilers?
like, I gotta go fish. I'm like, you don't know what a fish is.
Mild spoilers?
Uh-huh.
He owns a like fisherman's bar.
Okay.
I think it is implied that he still fishes, but the primary business
He's like a
seems
commercial
That is
fisherman.
so
Yes.
good to know for canon.
to be... Yes.
Yeah.
He still has a boat. He still seems to fish.
Wow.
Good.
But it feels like the town has become very touristy, and he now runs like the locals bar that has the fishing ephemera in it. And the Billy Blues side of the boat is hung up above the bar.
Wow.
Prince
Jesus Christ.
looks pretty fucking fantastic. in
He's
that
aged
movie.
really nicely.
He has
Yeah, he's a
aged
good looking guy.
beautifully. There was I've been like watching it, and I'm like, could Prince have like a Brolin moment?
He's not that good an actor.
He's not that good, and
Yeah,
yet
that's
I
a
was
good point. Yeah,
watching it,
he's
and I
not.
was like, someone could cast him really well.
Yeah.
He kind of works in this.
The Coen brother.
He's an
Oh,
iconic
brother.
Star Wars character.
Yes.
He's Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah. He's very good in that show.
Okay.
He's a good
Oh
voice
yeah,
actor.
he has a really sorry,
He's got a
we'll
great
go
voice.
off this in a second, but there's that video of him, David,
Talking about Star Wars.
talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
Star
he
Wars.
loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
He has a really great
he's a
take
big
on
nerd.
it. I'm not.
Yes.
He was fun
don't
on
know,
one of the Mass Effect games too.
Yeah.
He's a good voice actor.
What were you going to say, Ben?
I have a question about the motel where he hides.
It's just this is like No Country for Old Men, you know, Ben?
Yeah, that's what the movie's about.
Oh,
The answer.
sure.
Okay, the motel
Okay.
where he hides it in a duct and then he rents another room that's like connected to
He
the
figures
duct.
out
But he
which room
gets
is on the
found
opposite
out, right?
Yes.
Because he sees that the curtain has been moved.
Right.
I'm assuming that's the Mexican.
Yes.
uh,
Whoever's looking for him.
Right. Like the other party trying to track him down. Do they have the device, or are they just figuring out that he's there?
That's a good question.
I've never been able to like determine.
Because Chigurh obviously has the receiver
Right.
for the
Yes.
tracker.
Oh,
Right.
right.
Right. I don't
And also
think
the-
they would have one as well. There may be tracking Chigurh.
I
They
think-
might be
Yeah.
following his trail. Yeah.
I mean, is the scene with the suits? The scene with the suits is after that, or just meaning? I wonder if that answers your question. Because if he's, I think it is. I think that
Yeah.
we see suits
Yeah.
before that. Suits have a tracker. I wonder if Mexicans also have a,
Oh,
That's-
sure.
because they're
Yeah.
two
They
separate.
might. I think there's some dialogue that alludes to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also could have talked to another great, just random character, the woman that runs that motel. Maybe they went in and talked to her as anyone got in a room, kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, it could be that simple.
There's the moment when he's doing the air duct trick for the first time.
Yes.
And he's sitting in the room with the gun loaded, waiting for him with the lights off, right? And he sees the shadow of the footsteps underneath.
God,
He's hearing it,
yeah.
and then he's seeing it, and he's seeing him continue to walk. But before that moment, when he's hearing the steps off into the distance, he calls. You're like, why the fuck is he picking up the phone? He calls the front desk, hears the deadline,
Oof, so
Right.
good.
and then
yeah.
hangs up. And it's just like, the guy's smart enough to know,
Yeah.
I've studied this guy's behavior.
Yeah.
He's killing the woman at the front desk.
Yeah.
If he's already here, she's dead.
Right.
There's just stuff like that I love.
I love it too.
I feel like he hasn't encountered Chigurh at that point, so there is this like anticipation too with the audience of like, here we go,
Right.
here we go.
They
They
they shoot at each other, but they
Yes.
don't really interact.
It's after that
I know.
scene is right. Yes.
But
But they're
they talk on the
always
phone.
quite far from each
right.
other.
They talk on the phone though.
Yep.
And then after he talks to Chigurh, he talks to Harrelson, and he's like, "You talk too much."
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does, and Chigurh does not get him. I mean, it's just so funny. I'm sorry to keep hitting that point. We just don't get that weird satisfaction. We
yeah.
don't get the defeat of Chigurh, obviously.
It is a great shootout, man.
It is. And
Really
he-
too smart. You know, for all of his stupidity, he is a smart guy when he's driving that truck
When he
and
gets
he's
the
watching
guy-
the bullet.
Yeah.
holes and the,
And he's using
smart.
the rear view mirror and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
just the way they build the tension with the increasing amount of bullet holes around him. But you can never quite track where Chigurh is. You can
That's
track
right,
the trajectory of the gun,
Yeah.
but you're never like seeing him, you know?
You don't get into his, I think if I'm remembering correctly, you don't really get into his POV.
I don't think so.
And so therefore it is also a subversion of
Yes.
hero versus villain. Because
Mhm.
usually you'd pop over to villain and then you pop over to hero, you know.
Yeah.
Instead, Llewellyn dies, and Chigurh sort of, completes his mission and moves on wounded.
Mhm.
And then Tom Bell sits down with his dad,
I believe so. That's
played by
always
the
how I
great Barry Corbin,
Yes.
who is an actor I mostly think of as playing like yeehaw Texas guys.
He was on
in
Northern
TV.
Exposure.
He's great on Northern Exposure. But like he would just like, he was the guy who could swing in wearing a cowboy hat in your TV show being like, "Well, I'm from Texas,"
yes.
and he's good at it.
It's shorthand.
And in this,
yes.
he's like pretty, like calm and quiet
beaten down
and awesome.
Yeah.
And then Tom just tells his wife about some stories, some dreams he had. And then he woke up and it cuts to black. And I just remember my audience being like, what
the
Like,
fuck are you talking about?
That's it?
Right. They're already.
I didn't even know he was done. Was he? He's done? He's done talking?
When Llewellyn dies, it feels like, okay, so I guess I was wrong, but the movie is building to a showdown between Tommy Lee Jones and Bardem, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then you're like, no, it's ending on the guy's dream, and it feels like he's sort of like hanging mid-sentence.
yeah.
Tess Harper, who is so good in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With just a few moments from Tender Mercies, one of my favorite
She's
movies.
so
And
great.
they also off
Yes.
screen do a lot of hand stuff, I will say, in the film.
I have no doubt they're fucking. They have a very happy
me a
physical.
great-
they've got a
Oh my
great,
God.
they've got a
Yeah.
great relationship.
Yes.
I just love it that she's like, "Oh, great dream. Want to do some hand stuff?"
So when you're saying the masterpiece personal question, right? And part of it is that when you're posing that, and part of it is that this is something they don't originate. It is something they are assigned to. It is something they connect with.
And yeah, like I said, because, so much of the dialogue is Cormac McCarthy and not
Sure.
them, it does feel like this is the film of just, we are master filmmakers.
Right. And
Yeah.
is it just like skillful interpretation of
Yeah.
someone else's voice?
Yeah.
I do think this movie kind of in its sparseness, and in a way they maybe couldn't do if they were writing it themselves from scratch, identifies some key through line in their worldview that certainly is reflected in all their films. And when people, especially the early parts of their career, would attack them for being kind of like nasty, cynical, just like setting up idiots to be punished, in like a cruel and kind of merciless world.
Yeah.
I do think there is this thing of like, are they just nihilists? Does none of this matter to them? They make these movies that are touching on this kind of darkness. And I do think this movie is kind of their retort. There's a reason why I think Fargo, if not their masterpiece, is their definitive film, because it is the ultimate balancing of everything they do, right?
Yes, yeah.
But part of what makes Fargo so powerful is that they're placing this like undeniable figure of good at the center of it, who is cutting through this
Yes.
stuff.
Right. And Ed
Yeah.
sort of is that, but he's so tired.
Right. And
he's not going to fix
Marge
anything.
is someone
Yeah.
whose life lies ahead of her. She's
Yes.
about to have a child. There's a new exciting chapter that's
Yes.
unfolding.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
just got the stamp, right?
Yes.
There's
yeah.
all this sort of shit, and she is sort of like comically good. The movie has that lightness.
She
of
is
even
comically. Yeah.
Yes, even in its
Yeah.
darkest moments, it's funny.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I would agree.
Her goodness is funny.
Yeah.
And so it is, if not obscuring their real feelings, I think it was adding to this sense of, are they just playing with toys, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How much
yeah.
of this is just like genre riffs for them?
is
And
just them? Yes.
in
Yeah.
them doing this stripped down, like subversive kind of genre deconstruction,
Right.
they're doing a more focused version of the kind of thing at the center.
I would agree
of
with that.
Fargo.
That's something I think that I've learned in doing this with you guys.
They're
is
re-expressing something.
They're re-expressing
here.
something, and they're doing, yes, the pinnacle of what they do.
Right.
And because they can't rely on witty dialogue,
Yes.
and, you know, like you said, a character like Marge that will just like cut through all the bullshit. Yeah, I would go so far as to say it's a masterpiece, because if I use the criteria of the ending of the movie, it did leave me like, you know, Mulholland Drive or Zodiac, where I was like, wow.
It is also kind of twinned with the ending of Fargo that also comes back to a couple having a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? In
yeah,
their comfortable domesticity.
Yeah.
But for him, it's like this moment of extreme vulnerability. It feels like Tommy Lee Jones is transparent in this final scene.
He's incredible.
There is an understated sense of deep sadness and him feeling unmoored and vulnerability in him even sharing this with her. That the scariest thing he could do is ever share his abstract thoughts that he has not been able to untangle yet, even to the person closest in his life, in what seems to be a very healthy marriage, right?
Absolutely.
And it's sort of this sense of like, unlike Fargo, this is not a universe in which Marge is able to stop.
Yes,
evil, right? Yeah. Obviously, as she puts it, all that for a little bit of money. She didn't stop it in time. A lot of damage was
done.
Many people died.
Yeah,
but ultimately, like, there was some sense of justice at some point.
Yes,
and she gets to look at Peter Stormare at the back of the car and say, "And for what? A little bit of money."
A little bit.
She
of
at
money,
least hopes that stays in his head. Versus here, the fact that the three people never meet, you kind of come back to Tommy Lee Jones being like, to what end?
Yeah, and you're right. The villain, you know, Stormare in Fargo is kind of the prototype for Chigurh. You're right. Because, you know, just, you know, Terminator-esque, has his own code. It's not really even about the trajectory of what he's planned to do. But then in that film, he gets, you know, his comeuppance or whatever. And in this film, you know, you don't know the fate of this guy.
Right. And in the dreams that Tommy Lee Jones is having, I think he's trying to reckon with these cycles of the stories we tell ourselves of like lawmen and bad guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In a kind of idea of an American West where these things can balance themselves out. And he's just sort of like, are we moving into a realm where, for better or worse, we don't fit into the model anymore? And then who am I?
Yeah.
Right.
I think what's interesting, like, in terms of the thesis of the movie and sort of, I think what you take away from it at the end, is that, you know, that all the characters sort of get this, like, you know, meh, you know, like who knows, you know, he, you know, Llewellyn's dead. But I also heard that from somewhere that Tommy Lee Jones did that in one take and only did, you know, one of them. And that he also did the fugitive, sort of famous, you know, after the train crash speech, also in one take.
I mean,
like
I'd say, if this is take one, I think I go, yeah, we don't need another.
Yeah, we don't need to do this again.
Right.
We get it. Like, he's totally embodied the character, and therefore the I almost said lyrics, but the dialogue is he's just speaking it, you know?
Yeah, and the final shot, his face to me is so heartbreaking, where he looks so worried at how she is going to respond and what she thinks about what he just said.
Yeah. I think that,
it would be funny if he was like, I had the weirdest dream. Like, I was in class and I had to take a test, and then I wasn't wearing any clothes. And then my teeth fell out.
She's like, that's pretty standard textbook stuff. You're worried about aging.
Yeah.
I had the weirdest nightmare. Donald Trump became president.
Fantasy.
Don't badmouth David Sky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, David.
This film, I'm just moving us along.
Yes.
Premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2007. I'm noting that only because it's an insane Cannes, because No Country for Old Men is there. Zodiac is there. Stephen Frears and all his wisdom and his jury gave both of those films 0 awards.
Why did I think No Country won director?
Because the Coens have one director. But not for that one.
Okay.
For that one, they won Bupkis. And it's like, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days won the Palm. That's a good movie. That's obviously a very like powerful festival film. Like it's
we talked
grueling
about
and
this
insane.
for Zodiac. Yeah.
And
It is an excellent, impossible to imagine watching a second time movie, but if you see it at a festival out of nowhere,
you're like,
it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But
sure.
it is a little rude that it just went over. Like it got well received. The critics liked it there, but it didn't win anything. Paramount Vantage wanted to release this in August, which is fucking crazy. They were going off of the success in the previous year of The Constant Gardener, which of course did win an Oscar.
We've talked about this sort of like August, sort of Labor Day-esque, like focus features, adult thriller slot where you could have like kind of a modest counter-programmer success.
Yes,
But
that's
this
true.
movie is not quite that.
Right. The Coens, perhaps wisely, felt strongly about releasing this film in the fall.
Yeah.
Came out in November and was their biggest hit of the moment. True Grit eclipses it, but it made $74 million domestic and $171 worldwide.
Wow.
And it won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I don't know if you know.
Director, screenplay, supporting actor.
That's right. It lost for sound editing, sound mixing, cinematography, and editing.
I watched the 3 speeches this morning.
Their speeches.
Joel tells the story that's very funny about or no, for screenplay he says the Cormac McCarthy and Homer thing, right?
Yeah.
And then Ethan gets up and he goes like, thank you. And he walks off stage. And then when they win Best Director, Joel tells the story about them growing up making movies together and how it feels crazy that their life doesn't feel different from when they were 10.
And they're like,
in
we're
the
happy
backyard.
you let us play in this little sandbox.
Exactly. Thank you for letting us have our corner of the sandbox. And then Ethan gets up and goes, I think
No.
basically said everything I needed to say last time. Thank you.
I laughed.
It's a perfect bit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they win Best Picture, they say nothing. Scott Rudin talks the entire time.
Gets on his head and revolves around or whatever. Yeah. Scott Rudin throws cheese strings from the stage. This film, Griffin, came out November 9th, 2007.
Yeah.
Limited, so it's opening number 15. A robust $43,000 screen average, though. Number 1 at the box office is sort of the No Country for Old Men of animated films, though. In its second week at the box office. I'm joking.
It is called B Movie?
That's right. It's Jerry Seinfeld's B Movie.
My God.
Now, have you seen B Movie?
I have not.
He's a bee.
Yeah.
It's kind of a movie about an old man who doesn't understand it is no longer his country.
My God.
That's sort of slowly what Jerry Seinfeld's last 25 years have been about.
Oh, my God.
I'm just imagining.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
I'm just
typecasting.
imagining the last scene of No Country with Jerry Seinfeld and his wife.
This country, not for old
Just
men.
very quietly going, what's the deal
That's pretty good.
with an old man?
Number 2 at the box office is a film that I think was widely tipped as a major Oscar player.
American Gangster?
Right. Did well.
Yeah.
Is not bad, but certainly underwhelmed on that
Got
front.
only the 1 nomination for Ruby D?
I think it might have gotten like a costume nod, but yes, essentially. But not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie.
Pretty rewatchable.
It was just on paper, you were like, this is going to be the greatest shit of all
This is it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's the year after The Departed, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
It was.
Number 3 at the box office. New this week. I think very unhappy for the studio that this is opening number 3.
Okay.
It's a comedy, high concept comedy.
November 2007. What studio released this picture?
Warner Bros.
Warner Bros. It is not Fred Claus, is it?
It is, unfortunately, Vince Vaughn's Fred Claus.
One of the most repellent films I've ever seen.
Not
A
good
film
one.
that actually embodies pure evil.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I remember, of course, this is when I was an intern at People Magazine because I covered the B-movie red carpet in London. I worked in London. I covered the red carpet for this film. I've talked about it a lot on this podcast over the years. This is a huge flop.
Yes.
Opening new at number 4. Drama. Serious drama.
Oh!
This
You're
is
saying
number
this
4.
movie is
yes,
The
I did
Kingdom?
not cover the red carpet for Fred Claus. I did for The Kingdom, but that's not what
But
we're
this is
talking
Lions for Lambs?
Lions for Lambs.
There we go.
Oh.
Where it's just like everyone's in a room going like, but the war,
Yes.
is it good? We don't know. Yes. I've never seen Lions for Lambs.
No, me
I haven't
I
neither.
covered the red carpet.
That is the fundamental yes or no question of our time. No, it's that thing of like the
Tom Cruise, Meryl Streep, Robert Redford.
the cruise implosion.
Oh, right.
Summer Redstone says we're ending our deal with him at Paramount. And then the big buzzy announcement is United Artists is being handed over to Tom Cruise. It is going to be his studio. He gets to make what he wants. And the first move was, I'm going to play supporting in a Robert Redford talkie drama. And it felt like, is this the next phase of his career?
Right.
Is he not interested in being like action star,
Cruise?
movie star
Yeah.
anymore?
Yeah.
And right after this, he pivots
Right.
hard.
back,
So
yeah.
far away from that.
Right.
And this is like the couch jumping era. Like this
It's-
is
it's
like
right
a-
after.
The
this is a
immediate
mess.
post
Yeah.
couch jump.
Everyone's a little sick.
How
of
do I
Tommy.
reset?
Yes.
And then his second UA movie is Valkyrie,
Valkyrie. Yeah.
where he finds Macquarie, and that
is-
sets the next
And
20
that sets
years
it
of
up.
his career.
Yeah.
Number 5 at the box office, Griffin, is a film that matters very much to you and I. Not as a film, but as a thing we used to say to each other.
It's a thing we used to
At
say to each
film
other.
trivia a lot. And you would say it to a lot of people. A line from this film.
Put it on my tab.
Put it on my tab. What's
Put
the
it on
film
my tab.
called?
It is one of the great breakfast starch movie
Yes.
posters of all time.
That's right.
It is called Dan in Real Life.
The Steve Carell film, Dan in Real Life. Have you seen it,
I have
Leslie?
not. I have
Yeah.
not.
It's got
you know-
one of the most weirdly photoshopped posters of all time.
That I know the poster.
Of his
I know
face.
The
We all know the
Sitting on a
poster.
stack of
Oh, God.
pancakes.
Yeah.
Nothing
There he
close
is.
to that happens in the
There he
film.
is, Ben.
Oh, really?
No, he doesn't
No.
sleep on pancakes.
But it was clearly like a kind of like kind of Kasdan-y attempt at a dramedy that then they were like, how do we sell this to look more like 40-year-old version?
Oh, right.
What can
Yeah.
be
What can we do?
wacky happening in relation to his face?
Yeah. Yeah.
A stack of pancakes. Put it on my tab.
Number 6 at the box office is Saw 4.
Okay.
That's the one that starts with his autopsy, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe not. I think it is.
Mhm.
Where they're like, he's dead. Number 7 is the film The Game Plan. Now, what's that one?
That is
Yeah.
The Rock is a
He's got the
football
girl.
player who
Right.
finds out he had a daughter.
And she likes like ballet, and he's like, "What's the game plan?"
Yes.
or whatever.
That's the era where he's like, I am solely family movie star. And he does that, Tooth Fairy, and Escape to Rich Mountain
Whatever.
in a row, and then was like, never mind.
Never
I'm
mind,
bailing
fuck
on
this. Yeah.
Number 8 at the box office is the like sort of okay thriller 30 Days of Night, the vampire movie
Never
with
seen
Josh
it.
Hartnett.
Yeah, David Slade.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Number 9 is something that I do not remember what this is. P2? The fuck is that?
That was a Wes Bentley
Yeah.
evil parking attendant.
I don't
movie.
know how you know this.
Broken brain.
How do you know what
We've all
P2
parked.
is?
We've all parked
all
in
parked.
a parking lot.
But what
What
if?
it was evil?
I think it's Rachel Nichols and Wes Bentley.
You are correct.
And
my
it
friend.
was one of those distributors that only existed for like 18 months.
Who
It's-
are
it-
you?
It was distributed, of course. Well, it was distributed by Summit Entertainment. So they
Oh, okay.
they're
So
a
maybe
real
it was
company.
early Summit.
Yeah, but it was Alexandre Aja. He didn't direct it. He produced it, and he found like one of his freaks to
Sure.
direct it. I will not direct the parking movie. I assume that's what he sounds like. Number 10 at the box office is The Martian Child. What is that again?
That is
It's John Cusack?
John Cusack.
And he's like, what if my child was Martian?
Yes. He
When you
thinks-
hear like all the log lines,
Yeah.
just diminishing returns of
This-
like,
yes.
you know, we're going down to 10, and it's just like, my God.
I think it's basically the movie is like, help, my son is K-Pax. I have watched this movie on a plane, but it's
Yeah.
basically, I think, like Cusack being like, I don't know, the kid thinks he's a Martian.
Oh,
And
my
then someone plays
God.
the therapist who's trying to get through to the kid. I want to say it has a maybe vaguely tasteless twist, but I might be misremembering that. I think it is one of the rare movies, though, where John and Joan play siblings, if I am not mistaken. That's what I got to say about The Martian Child. I don't know what to tell you.
That's it.
Leslie,
Thank you, guys.
pleasure's all ours.
Thank you.
Always.
3 for 3. I mean,
3 for
really,
3.
that is those. Wow.
Yeah, and once again, we cannot oversell how much dog shit we're going to saddle you with next time. It's going to
Yeah,
be
you have to.
so bad.
There's no way.
It's
You've
going to
got
be the
to.
stinkiest shit we've ever covered on this show.
Yeah. Yeah. But you guys have been really lovely in terms of essentially offering me or letting me pick, like really
Of course.
incredible.
That's what we should
Oh, we
do
heard
this
you
show.
like Zodiac.
Yeah.
You know, and then David texted me and was like,
That was the weird thing also where it was like nobody
We
was
couldn't find
going
it.
for Zodiac, which is odd because it's like
so
the movie
incredible.
We
and
Yeah.
raised
for-
like the flag to friends and we're like, who likes Zodiac? Why can't we find anybody? Yeah.
I think like No Country is just, you know, it's just an astonishing movie.
Yeah.
So like those three, I just am like, Jesus Christ, I feel really
Yes.
lucky.
You did great.
Yeah.
And I did, it felt like the pinnacle of their career to me at this time. And yet I think the run that comes right after it is sort of the kind of stuff you can only do when emboldened with this level of success.
It's fertile stuff.
It's a blank
It's really
check.
good shit. They had quite a blank check
Yeah.
run right after this.
Leslye, are you doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
You're about to go on vacation.
I'm about to go on vacation.
Okay.
And by
And where are
vacation,
you
I mean I'm
going?
not going to be with my wife and my child.
As a parent,
I'm
I
staying here, but I'm
understand.
not. I don't
understand.
have to deal with it. No, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm
I
I'm
just
actually
feel like-
sort of not doing anything right now, which
I
is
feel
really
like
lovely.
That's great. I feel like
Yeah.
I last saw you right before my twins were born.
Yes, that's
you
true.
were
Yeah.
beginning to spool up on Cult of Love or what, like you
Yes.
had stuff on your plate or
Oh,
whatever.
right. Yeah, I was like about to start rehearsals for it.
You had a
yeah.
lot
sounds right.
going
Yeah.
on. I feel like Accolade
Something.
had just
Right.
come out and you were starting
And then
rehearsals
like
for
since
the
then
show.
we will
Yeah.
text once a month. It's like we should really hang out. And I'm like,
Yes.
I know.
And then we never
I'm
do.
so sleepy.
Yeah.
But
That's
we should
really
really
what
And
it
I
is.
just wave and I'm
Yeah.
like, I got no kids over
Yeah.
here. You guys tell me when and where.
I mean, I'm so tired that I'm not even playing like Night Rain
What
with
the
my
fuck?
RPG group. You know,
Wow.
like, I mean, we're just like, we started
sucks.
and then everybody was like, what happened to you? And I was like, I can't even bring myself to play a video game.
I'm so
That's
tired.
how tired I
I started
am.
the Donkey Kong game, which is
Yeah.
for children.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of overwhelming. Like,
Yeah.
This is a lot for me right now.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
yeah, that would,
But
that's
let's
something,
hang out.
that
Nice to
sums
see
it
you.
up.
And
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
everyone should be hanging
And also
out.
Ben.
But yeah, thanks for
invited to-
having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. It was wonderful to watch the movie again.
No, of course. A phenomenal film.
Kind of an easy movie to talk about in a weird way where you're just like, who am I to say anything bad about this movie? Like,
Yeah.
it all works.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just kind of like roll through it.
Yeah,
It's like
man.
absolutely brilliant.
Not
And
in like an uncomplicated way. There's complicated stuff to think about, but it's just kind of like, I'm not really faulting anything here.
one thing that I was going to say very quickly was the one thing that I love about the novel and the film is that then Seventh Seal, it's like I'm playing chess with death, and I just love that this movie is like it's a coin toss.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
There's
See,
no
that's it.
game
It's
to
a
win.
it's a
That's it
coin
right
toss.
there.
That's it right
I think we
there.
also have to mention that this is a dry movie.
Well, that's true, Ben.
Thank
That's
God we
true.
said that.
Although
This
he
is-
does go in the water at one point to get away from the people.
And it looks refreshing.
I know when he
'Cause it's
goes
so
in there,
hot.
when he goes in there, I'm like, man, that's what I would be doing all
Yeah.
the time.
But to back up Ben's point here, it's a movie so dry that the greatest mistake its lead character makes
Let's go by the pool.
is getting a jug
the
of water.
water. And
getting
going
a-
by the pool.
and getting a jug of
The
water.
water,
Yeah.
the water function.
I was kind of shocked you didn't have water, by the way. I'm like, you're out here like hunting in the desert.
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't have
that's
like
a
a
good
fucking
point.
bottle of water.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you served in the army.
Okay,
I
maybe
said,
this guy is a fucking moron.
Guy's dumb.
Yeah.
it's a friggin' dry movie.
You're right,
Thank
Ben.
you all for listening.
Thank you guys.
Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Tune in next week for Burn After Reading.
Right.
Just
With
a really funny
somebody.
follow-up movie. Yeah, we'll have
That's
that
one
figured
where
out.
like 8 guests have rotated in and out of that spot. We'll see.
It's been an interesting.
Yeah.
It's been like the Crow remake
Oh my
in
God.
terms of the number of different
The
names. that have been
person,
swung around.
the standing name right
We'll
now is
see.
wild.
Is
we
wild.
will see.
We
Is
cannot say it.
We
but
can't
We'll
say
tell
it.
you after.
We'll see
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say
what
it.
happens.
I'll see you guys for the next masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. Penny Marshall's riding cars with boys.
I'm game.
David's taking a photo of what? Of the runtime?
Runtime. Someone asked me how long this episode
Okay,
was.
because it's not 4. We came in
No,
At a
we ain't got
respectable-
4.
A respectful 3.
a respectful
Yeah,
3.
just under.
Leslye, I don't know how you put up with us.
I'm obsessed with this. This was actually like my it's my happy place. I love talking with you guys, and I even said I was like,
that's
I
it.
just am so happy that I get to do something that I love, and I'm not like, and it's during a time when I'm not also like under deadline. It's kind of like
That's very
a
kind
chill
of you to say.
vibes. Yeah.
And as always, I'm going to promise you that next time you're going to get the worst fucking movie ever.
Dog shit.
Blank Check with Griffin and David is hosted by Griffin Newman and David Sims. Our executive producer is me, Ben Hosley. Our creative producer is Marie Barty Salinas, and our associate producer is AJ McKeon. This show is mixed and edited by AJ McKeon and Alan Smithy. Research by JJ Birch. Our theme song is by Lane Montgomery and the Great American Novel, with additional music by Alex Mitchell. Artwork by Joe Bowen, Ollie Moss, and Pat Reynolds. Our production assistant is Minnick. Special thanks to David Cho, Jordan Fish, and Nate Patterson for their production help. Head over to blankcheckpod.com for links to all of the real nerdy shit. Join our Patreon, Blank Check Special Features, for exclusive franchise commentaries and bonus episodes. Follow us on social at Blank Check Pod. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Checkbook, on Substack. This podcast is created and produced by Blank Check Productions.